the right place. Alright, well, it's recording now. Cool. Hey, folks. Let me switch to my main camera so you can actually see me. Alright. Hey. Hi, how's it going? If you're watching this, this means Julie Makes a Grade wasn't streamed this time. We ran into some major technical difficulties, unfortunately. Kind of a bummer, but hey, we can still do this, and also, it's actually easy for Joel to watch me do this way. So, welcome.
Yeah, like I'm actually literally watching this.
I know this is great.
Live.
Again, still weird. I've not actually set into a camera for a video shoot for a little while now. So, hi, good to see you, folks. So, as any of you do know, this show is about building Gunpla, especially the kits that I've bought. Even kits that people have voted on. In this case, we're building the RG Sinanju, which in this frame almost looks like I'm wearing a mask. But yeah, we're continuing to build it because last time, it's been a few months, we actually ended on me finishing off most of the legs. So I'm pretty happy with how those turned out.
Those are real shiny.
Yeah, I'm liking it, especially just like that gold trim. Get that.
Yeah, that's a really good combination of colors.
Yeah. No, the Sinanju's great. But yeah, it's been a few months, just things have happened. I started university again, doing my master's in teaching. So that kind of ate up a lot of time, but I got 2 months free. And also, hey, Joel's going to be here in a week, so I figured might as well, like, get a stream in before he comes over to Australia.
Yeah, the next recording we do, I am putting way more work into on my end.
I mean, like, it's going to be both of us in video. Like, it's going to be fun. I still got to decide the
like,
kit.
Twitch can't delay my flights.
I mean, you don't know that.
I don't know that, but I'm challenging them right now. They can't do it.
With the companies and staff that they poach and absorb, who knows?
God, yeah, I'm gonna read in the news tomorrow that Twitch bought Delta Airlines.
Man, no, because Delta's actually pretty good with their in-flight Wi-Fi, which I really appreciate.
I pre-bought like 24 hours worth of that.
No, it's really good. It was like, yeah, I was happy to pay $20 for like a 20-hour flight's worth of Wi-Fi. That was great.
Yeah, that's super worth it.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so in the meantime, I'm just going to show off some of the kits that I've actually built in the past few months, namely just 2 of them, because they're close by. One of them would be the high-grade Kamaris Vidar, which I'm pretty happy with. It's a big old
giant
lance, boy.
Drill lance, nice.
Yeah. There's also an attachment, because in the show, he straight up has drill knees, as in, like, a drill bit just comes out of the knee.
Okay, sure.
Which is pretty good.
Why not?
I haven't got him in the pose, but the best thing is, if you actually look behind the lance, you'll see, like, some holes. And then you'll see underneath the shields, there's a little barrel there. You can actually plug the
more
shield.
Holes than you usually see in that, like, section of humanoids.
Right. But the best thing is you can actually plug the shield into the lance, and he fires just, like, railgun bolts.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, right out of, like, the yellow parts on the front of the lance. Yeah, I like.
Yeah, that's always.
Yeah. I will say, this is a kit that people either love or hate in the Gunpla community just because, like, it's got a very distinct look. It's also kind of weird looking, like, just with the color scheme alone. White, yellow, purple, and an off-brown, like, black. But yeah, I super like it a bunch, just because it's also piloted by one of my favorite characters. Let me just put him back by the windowsill. Looking majestic as always. What else? Yeah, and the other kit I've been building, this one's going to be a bit more precarious to actually bring over, but... Don't fall off, don't fall off, don't fall off. We got the Master Grade New Gundam, which I like a bunch.
That's a very Gundam-looking Gundam.
Yep. It's from, like, I can't remember the year, but it comes from the movie Charles Counterattack, which is basically, like, one of the major, like, movies in, like, Universal Century, which is kind of the big universe for Gundam, at least
sure.
Like, initially. So, as you can see, if I'm hoping the camera will pick up, you can see, like, it's got little green inner frame parts, which I really like.
Yep, I can see that.
And those parts you can, like, cover up and stuff, which I enjoy. So, basically, it transforms into this mode. And it's got these big-ass... They're called funnels because, basically, what you do is... It comes with a display kit that I'm going to have to, like, make once I'm done with this kit properly. Oh, this thing's also super back-heavy with the funnels attached. But yeah, so these can come off individually, and then you can also transform them. I might just have to lie this guy down for the time being, because he's huge, and those funnels are very rickety. But as you see, the funnels, they kind of come like this. You build them, but they can also fold out, and then you can also make them form basically like little energy guns.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, the cool thing is like they give you a whole display stand to actually put these around the Gundam, because in the show, in the movie, they like fly around and can perform these functions. Just put those away. But yeah, new Gundam, I like him much. I actually like, my favorite weapon of his is actually the new big-ass bazooka that they've got.
Is that just what it's called? Big ass bazooka?
I call it that.
The BAB.
But yeah, this is it. Like folded up, it soars on his back like that. Cool thing is, I love that they give you separate red parts for the ammunition.
Oh, nice.
Yep. And then you actually pull down the handle. Yeah, that's the main handle, and then actually extends out. So yeah, this is
Very nice.
all part separation. I really enjoy that for like a simple black and white bazooka. It's really cool. So yeah, that's new Gundam. I've been having a lot of fun building them. Plus, also, you know, I'll just show this little trick. So basically, if I pull off the backpack, this is the hard part because there's always stuff to pull off when you're trying to do like little gimmicks they give you with this Gundam, or most Gundams in this grade, to be honest. So it does require
just decapitate him like so casually.
Oh yeah, no, it's fine. He's fine. I always do wonder what Toy Story would be like from the viewpoint of like model kits. Oh god, Toy Story from the viewpoint of anime figurines.
I don't think I want to watch that version.
Yeah, that's... Yeah.
That's gonna go some places.
That's really gonna go some places. Ugh. Alright, hold on. Nearly there. Okay.
Not your daddy's Toy Story.
Don't you dare say that. Don't you dare say that. That is awful. I'm now mad at you.
This was your suggestion, I'll remind you.
I know, and I'm mad at myself as well. I can be mad at multiple people.
Can you?
Apparently. I know I can. This is a little bit hard to get at, but if I can just turn that on. Yep. Okay, let's pop this
LED.
Yeah, if we just pop this back on now. Pop the head back on, because I didn't put on the 4 stickers for the eyes. So yeah. Got that going on.
Yeah, that's real cool.
Yeah, it's a real cool look.
The Masterpiece Optimus Primal has that. That's LEDs in the head. So you just press his head down and his eyes will glow.
That's
really cool.
nice. I kind of wish they made this a bit easier to reach the LEDs and stuff.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, you have to apparently put a lot of work into like turning that on, and I feel like they could have like made a switch that's like sticking out in a way where you can kind of trigger it without tearing everything apart.
What's the problem is that, you know, with this sort of grade, with Master Grade, they especially want to get like the actual kit looking like the in-show like mech, so you can't just have a switch sticking out of it.
Right, but you can do stuff where you disguise it underneath a part that's supposed to be visible. Because like that's how the Optimus Primal works. You just press down the head, and the switch is actually underneath the head.
I will say I think Takara Tomi's a bit ahead of Bandai in that case. Like, just trying to find ways. Also, action figures are easier to do with that than like a model.
Right. Yeah. The fact that the fact that it's mostly pre-assembled.
Yeah, that helps.
Definitely helps.
I'm just gonna pull this damn thing out. There we go. The cool thing is, these are like Gunpla LEDs. They do cost a little bit extra than you normally like pay for like your regular store-bought stuff. Assuming
the color is accurate on the stream I'm looking at, that does not look like a shade of LED that is fairly standard. Like, that looked like a pretty kind of a unique green. Yeah, they kind of got that going with the neon green. I like it a bunch. Other colors you can get are yellow and purple for different kits. Unfortunately, those are harder to find because they're premium Bandai, which is really shitty. But what can you do? Well, also, purple LEDs aren't the easiest ones to make. No, I get the issue, but like, it bothers me just because I've got a kit with that requires like purple LEDs to really shine, and it's, we'll see. I do like another kit. I'll find a picture once I've put this guy back together, but
The name is the 00 Riser kit. It actually comes with an LED for both the torso you put in, which lights up the eyes, and also its sword, because you need a fucking glowing green sword.
Oh yeah, no, glowing swords are better than non-glowing swords. That's just science.
Yep. Let me just pop this guy back together. So yeah. All right. Let me just.
Like if I had Sting, I'd actually keep a couple goblins around just so that it would always glow. Like I wouldn't kill them. I'd just have them hanging around.
That's a little more disturbing than I would have expected from you, Joel. That's a little
What?
worrisome.
I mean, I'd feed them. I'd take care of them. They'd probably live better than they do in Goblin Town.
I mean, you're not wrong there, but still, like. Alright, let me find 00 Riser LED, Master Grade.
So how hard would it be to swap out those LEDs with just an off-the-shelf from an electronics store LED?
It depends, really, because they do give you straight up like a chest cavity to put the LED in, and the unit itself is like a Bandai product that is built for that cavity. But if you don't mind it rattling around in the torso, you can probably just like hook up something, not in like a pretty simple manner.
Because like LEDs are pretty, from a wiring standpoint, a pretty simple thing to work with. So I would think you could just get an LED, like trim down the leads if you have to, and then just solder it in place of whatever they provided you.
Yeah.
It's like if you wanted a pink LED and it didn't come with one.
I think you could probably do that. I cannot find one for the actual sword. Like, I can't find a picture of the sword just lit up. Oh no,
Man,
actually,
pink would be really cool. Pink would be really cool for a sword.
be
If you
pretty
had a sword that
yeah.
just glowed neon pink, that'd be rad.
Especially because the 00 Riser, if I actually have it with me, yeah, because I've got the 1:144 scale Real Grade 1, that actual mech is ridiculous because it just comes with a bunch of swords, and its main sword can just project this giant beam. Like, this thing, the model kit itself is, you know, maybe 6 inches tall. This is like, I want to say, 4 to 5 inches tall.
Right, so it's a beam equivalent of a big-ass anime sword.
Right, pretty much. I do like that the 00 Riser straight up has a version called the 7 Swords version, and yeah, it just has 7 fucking swords.
You know, that would actually be a really cool way to do that whole sword bigger than the person aesthetic in a more like otherwise realistically designed show, where
Yeah.
like the actual like physical weapon that they're holding is normal sized, and then like you can activate a laser that like juts out that's like fucking Sephiroth's Masamune.
Yeah, pretty much. Although the sword itself is also pretty big. I actually did find a picture of the sword lit up, Joel, and there is in the
Yeah,
Snapchat.
that looks rad.
Yep. I genuinely enjoy like the LED stuff you can put, but again, it's like, so it's a bit of a hassle when you're actually trying to like just turn it on. Yeah, it's one of the things.
Yeah, story of my life.
So anyway, I think it's time we actually start building the Sinanju, because at the moment we're up to currently, I'll just find the part of the instructions. So we've got, as I've shown, the legs done. We got to though attach the side boosters because this is a high mobility kit, and then we've also got to attach little kneecap parts because this thing's still a bit exposed for the inner frame. Got to fix that. So yeah.
Yeah, you don't want a Gundam with knee problems. That would be an issue.
There's a lot of them with those though. Anyway, let's get started. I'm going to switch to this screen while I switch my camera around. And also tie my hair back properly. So that way I can actually like work. Also, I've been really tempted to show you the kit I'm going to get for you, Joel, but man, I want to keep that a surprise still.
Yeah, you gotta hold. You got like a week. You can wait a week.
Can I? I don't know. Listen.
I believe in you.
That's a mistake.
Well, that's maybe a mistake, but I'm in it for the long haul.
Fair enough. Alright, let me just move that around. Cool. I've also got to decide on the kit we build for the recording, because the kit I'm getting you is not like... It won't take that long with 2 people.
Sure.
Especially me. It's not like a big kit,
You're
but
going
it's
to
like...
you're gonna have to hold yourself back to keep pace with me. Like
We'll see. I can be a little bit bossy when it comes to, like, building Gunpla because
What? You? No.
Listen. Shut up.
Shocked.
Alright, let's switch to the workbench camera. Oh, that's a little bit disorientating. That's good enough. That's what we need. Let's get to see how, this is my desk clean for folks at home. Like, I want you to consider that.
I mean, it's cleaner than mine at the moment, so...
Oh, it's a lot cleaner than it was before. I'm just gonna, like, actually move this around. See if I can level it out a bit more, because I'm gonna be looking at this as well. And that's weird. Cool. Perfect. Alright, let's get started.
See, now that's challenge mode. Work with the like do all your work, but you can't look down. You can only look at the screen.
Ooh, from this angle, that would actually be hard. Yeah.
It would be like driving exclusively using your mirrors.
There was a cool thing. As much as I don't care for Rooster Teeth anymore, they had a cool concept where they just like tried video game mechanics in real life, and one of them was they did a really good job of rigging up a car. So you had to drive it while looking at a third-person perspective of it in your car.
Right. Yeah, like some of the weirder, like, truck simulator camera views.
Well, not even just like GTA style, like third-person
from
the back viewing down on your car, and you're driving it at the same time. And they basically, like, blocked out all of the windows and windscreen, had, like, a big-ass, like, tripod extension with the camera looking down at the car, which was streaming to the car itself.
Oh man, that just gave me a great idea for if I ever opened like like arcade or like,
yeah,
that kind of event thing.
Yeah.
Set up a maze with like cameras looking down from the top. Hook people up to a VR headset that is streaming the feed from those cameras, and they have to navigate the maze with a third-person view of themselves.
Oh, man. That'd be good. Alright, so let's get started. I also just want to quickly point out, so in the past few months, I also got some new gear. Essentially got better knife, which is pretty good. Still got the old shitty file. Do also still have all of my sanding paper in different grades.
This episode of Julia Makes a Grade brought to you by Better Knife. It's like the knife, but better.
This is really what I have to show is... Let me just get the actual case for it, because I like the name they gave this thing. So I need new nippers, because my old nippers were kind of crappy, and I wanted something a bit more quality. And there is a specific brand only available in Japan called God Hands, which...
That's fucking good.
It's fucking good. I'm just gonna move the camera a little bit, because that's falling off my desk. But yeah, my local hobby chain, HobbyCo in Australia, they didn't want to just import that. They can, but they also wanted to create something available for a local market that was, like, priced just as reasonably, as you can for, like, any modeling tools. So they created the Ultra Premium Nipper 2.0, because they did have a couple of different versions, and I got the 2.0, and that's this baby. This thing cuts very smoothly. I like it a lot. It's also got a little magnetic thing, so you can actually just, like, pop it closed and it'll stay closed in your hand.
Oh, that's good. I like that.
Yeah, the magnet's not as strong, and it did wear out a little bit for me, but that's okay, because, honestly, I take very good care of this thing. I like to pop it back in its, like, little plastic sheath and pop it back in its case. But yeah, this is cool because...
very responsible.
This is straight up an Australian-only nipper.
Exclusive.
It is.
Jules, I have to level with you. Every time you say nipper, I have to hold back a small giggle.
Yeah.
So we don't call them that here, and so like I just nip is just really funny.
I mean, yeah, but it's just what they're called for Gunpla. Gunpla nippers. Shut up. Respect the nippers. Anyway.
I'm holding back. I just wanted to disclose.
Anyway. Yeah, I'm very glad I've got these for the Sinanju, because the Sinanju, as you can see from this, like, sheen, it's very glossy, and I want to make sure I, like, don't have too many numbucks on it. Alright, so let's actually get to building. So I've been wondering what kit for us to get for our recording, as I mentioned before, and I'm thinking it's definitely going to be a master grade, so something bigger and more complex that will require 2 people to build.
Yeah, makes sense.
But I'm wondering what master grade I'd actually want to keep for myself for us to build together. Because I can't make you bring that back to the US. That would really suck.
That would be difficult, yeah.
I'm also wondering if you'd be able to build your... Well, because at least the kit I'm thinking for you is, like... It's basic in a way that makes it very solid. So if you did bring it back, it wouldn't be too hard. It would just be like, would you be able to keep the box? Because the box is actually a decent size.
Right.
So, yeah, I don't want to add to your luggage too much. We'll figure that out.
I mean, I'm a pretty light packer. Like, I don't need to bring a lot of stuff, so I'm sure
Yeah, that's fair enough.
I'm sure it'll be fine.
But yeah, so I've been wondering, we'll look into that as we go along with the stream. So let's actually get building. I've got to find all my frames in this box now. So we're going to use the D frame for the next part. We also have the C frame, which I'll need to find.
Yeah, that's kind of the downside to having been so long since the last time you recorded, is I'm sure you had to pack everything up.
Yeah, and also, even without, like, not doing recording, I had to pack everything up just because I had all, like, the stuff with my house being renovated and my room being repainted and stuff. Bit of a pain, but, you know, whatever. Luckily, there's not too much left to the legs. Also getting texted by my boyfriend at the same time.
God, focus, Jules. Come on.
Listen, you'd appreciate this. He voted for this kit. He loves this kit and this design. Actually, I should show you. For folks at home, the whole story behind the Sinanju. Let me see if I can get up a. Yeah, here's a full picture of what the actual thing looks like. So that's kind of what it looks like in the end. I love it because in the fiction, there are basically, you know, I'm going to break this down in the most simplest terms. In the Universal Century of Gundam, there are 2 factions, Zeon and Earth Federation. Earth Federation, after, like, the main series of Gundam ended, like, was building this new, really fancy suit for the main protagonist, and then he went MIA, because he kind of disappeared in some cosmic magic bullshit that happened at the end of Gundam. I really can't take the time to explain that. It's such a weird thing.
I mean, cosmic magic bullshit. We can work with that.
Yeah. So they built this super slick suit, mobile suit for him. I'm gonna put it in Snapchat.
SSMS.
Yeah. That was called the Sinanju Stein, and it's like basically a very stripped down, pure white and black version of this, which is really cool. Did it actually show up in this?
I think you just sent me the same thing you sent me last time.
Whoops.
I think your clipboard.
Yeah, my clipboard
didn't
went
refresh.
Yep. Let me just fix that. But yeah, so it's called the Sinanju Stein. It was pretty cool looking. You can look it up, STEIN for Stein. There we go. So yeah, and then Zeon stole it, colored it red, and then gave it all this black and gold trim and made it look like an officer's uniform.
All right, so they took it and gave it a cool paint job.
Yeah, imagine like if, imagine like a B-52 bomber being stolen and then being given a cool paint job and like being given the SWAT cats treatment. Honestly.
Yeah, I was gonna say, are there Gundam chop shops?
In some of the fiction, yeah. There's actually in the series. This is from Gundam Unicorn. There's actually a very good point to be made by some of the characters of like, yeah, the ones who are actually benefiting most from the war are the weapons manufacturers because both Earth Federation and Zeon mobile suits can use each other's weapons and ammunition, which kind of, when you think about it, like,
that's every war, right?
Pretty much. But yeah, it's good in that sense just because the main character's like, wait, why can my mobile suit use, like, your weapons? While he's talking to the enemy faction, they're like, well, you see, it's all really fucked up if you think about it for more than a second. Alright, so let's get to the building, and I can just quit yammering on.
Oh no, you don't get to quit yammering on. That's...
Alright, so we're gonna cut
there's video and audio on this stream.
That's true. Alright, so we're gonna count C8, and, I'm always really terrified of, like, making the cuts in this kit, just because of that glossy red.
Right, yeah, you miss even a little bit and you scuff that up or, like, get a notch in there, like that's gonna be super visible.
Oh, I don't want an MRA in here.
Oh, I get it.
I was waiting for that one to hit.
What about mech rights activist?
Get out. Get out. I hate this. Recording
Okay,
canceled.
I'll just okay, fine. I will leave you to talk to no one on your recording
Joel,
here.
you know for a fact I can actually easily do that.
Yeah, that was an empty threat.
Yeah, remember, I am like... It was the realization we all had from Let Me Tell You About Homestuck and my edition of like, I can just talk like fucking Dave Strider.
You're a lot more like Dave than most people would want to be.
Right. I've accepted that fate.
Dave's a nice boy.
Dave is getting better. Dave reminds me a lot of myself, you know, during those early teen years.
Dave is a nice boy who doesn't want to admit to himself that he's a nice boy.
Exactly, like...
And he's 13. That's understandable. It's a very understandable way to be when you're 13.
Yeah, he's very much convinced that he's a super, like, cool, ironic dude who with no sincerity, and then whoops.
Well, and he's at that age where you're, starting to get a broader perspective of the world, and you're starting to worry that being a nice guy is not a good thing.
Right. Or maybe starting to worry that being the guy that you've been all this time is actually kind of alienating and shitty.
Right, yeah, that's kind of the next step.
Remember, I definitely had that revelation when I was an older teenager with my best friend when he just said, "You're really angry a lot." And I was like, huh. I should think about that.
Yeah, that's something that, if you're angry all the time, you kind of lose that perspective on what it's like not to be angry and kind of don't realize.
Exactly. It's the case where so far the three characters I identify most with in Homestuck so far have to be John, Dave, and Carcat, which line up pretty well.
I mean, those are the main dudes.
Yeah. They seem to be the main dudes with the best arcs at the moment.
Yeah, no, like those three characters specifically have such good interplays with each other. And so much going on.
Exactly. I was not surprised when I saw there's a lot of Carcat, John, and Dave polyamorous fanfics on AO3.
Oh yeah, I would imagine.
My favorite thing has still been Luke, like, going, John and Dave can't be one of the most popular ships in that fandom. I was like, dude! Like, what?
Oh, Luke. So naive in some ways.
Just, like, two teenage boys who, one very sincere and nice, one very, like, just cold and super, like, insincere about stuff. Both best friends, you think they're not in love.
Let's just put it this way. That is not a space that Luke is particularly accustomed with.
That's fair. It was funny when Molly pointed out that her ideal ship, which is Rose, Kanaya, and Jade all together, doesn't exist as much. Like, man, that sucks, because that's a really good ship.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I can't really think of a lot of interactions between specifically those three in the comics, which tends to be what influences a lot of this stuff. Like, if characters don't ever interact much, people don't really think of doing stuff with them.
Exactly, yeah, because, Rose and Kanaya obviously talk a lot, but I can't see, like, Jade and Kanaya having a lot of interactions with each other.
Right, that's it. They don't, from what I can remember.
Yeah, that's fine. That's not really a spoiler. I could have guessed that anyway.
Well, and that's just the nature of when you have a lot of characters in a narrative. Eventually, like, you figure out which ones work well together and I mean, you can't really devote time to every possible pairing and have it work.
Right.
Like, that's just too much.
You should see some AO3 stuff. Some AO3 stuff is very much just like every ship in one fic. It's like, I can't read this. This is too much.
Yeah, no, it's overwhelming to read, and you simply, like, you need to devote a certain amount of time to character interactions for that to work, and if you're trying to cram everything in there, you don't have time for everyone.
I mean, there are also some really, really long fics, which I like a lot, because I just want to read a novel sometimes about two boys in love. Alright, let's see. Yeah, the sanding paper is doing a pretty good job. Just using some 1000 grade sanding paper. Which is good because this glossy plastic is also a lot a lot softer than other Gundam plastic. So it means I can just use this instead of like my shitty file for the most part. Plus it's easier because there's a lot of curved surfaces on this kit, and that's harder to get with a little crappy straight file.
Yeah, you don't really do well with contours when you've got a rigid sander.
Yeah. Let me find D11 is the next part we gotta grab. I basically think this is just like a fucking Ferrari of a mech suit. Like,
yeah, that's a good way to describe it, both in how like sleek and glossy it is. I mean, even the color is very sports car.
yeah. And like it's very flashy in a classic way as well.
Right, yeah, it's flashy without being ostentatious, I guess.
Like, it is ostentatious,
tough...
but it's an ostentatious that's very much just like, oh, like, it almost deserves to be this ostentatious with how it
looks. Right. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how to phrase it, but, like, it's... I guess not gaudy is maybe the way to say it.
Yeah, like, it...
Because that's a fine line to walk, of being flashy and showy without being overly so.
Exactly. Oh, the sanding paper is doing wonders on the nubs. That's... Don't take that out of context.
Boy, there's a sentence to take out of context.
So anyway, just gonna move along from that. God. Yeah, there's the last one for this part, and then I just gotta put in a couple of metallic stickers.
I mean, let's be honest. If people wanted to generate like blackmail for us, they could have done it by now. We've got enough of our audio on the public record that you could clip out some pretty awful stuff.
Yeah, I try not to think about that too much. Alright.
I don't know, it doesn't really bother me because I have trouble conceiving of anyone giving enough of a crap about me to go through all that effort.
Yeah, fair enough. I can feel the same way sometimes.
Like, what would that even accomplish?
I mean, we seem to matter to a surprising amount of people.
Yeah, I don't really know how to deal with that either, so I kind of don't think about it.
There was a thing I watched the other day, because I like watching like analysis videos of shows and movies I like, especially anime, and Super Eyepatch Wolf is a great critic and analyzer of this stuff. He's kind of like the Danny O'Dwyer of anime, to be honest.
The title?
Well, he's also Irish, I believe. But yeah.
A racist title.
But basically, he did a great video on this 1997, I want to say, anime movie called Perfect Blue, and it's by a very well-known anime director, Satoshi Kon, who is very much like about thrillers and horror. If anyone wondering, you might have also heard Satoshi Kon, who unfortunately passed away a little while ago. He did other series as Paranoia Agent. He also did Tokyo Godfathers, which it's an okay movie, but Tokyo Godfathers I've got some issues with because it kind of does the thing where it's basically a whimsical adventure about homeless people in Japan, and that can like be very ignorant.
Yeah, I'm always a little hesitant about stuff like that because like there's a lot of that's taking stories based on a lot of real people who are probably struggling and suffering and trying to make out like gives people misconceptions about what that life is like.
It's a nice story that honestly doesn't demonize homeless people, which I enjoy. There's also a character in that who is... I honestly need to rewatch it to like figure out how I truly feel about this character. But essentially, the way they're portrayed is a cross-dressing gay man who's homeless. Which, I'll say this, for the movie, for the most part, I didn't mind that at the time of watching, because part of their backstory is that they actually were having a successful relationship with someone they met at a club, and this guy was very, like, rich and happy and not abusive whatsoever, but unfortunately he died, and they kind of skirt around how that happened for a bit, and you can, guess, like, a couple, like, stereotypically, like, sad queer story beats that could line up with that. But then near like the end of the second act, they kind of just reveal like, oh no, he just slipped in the shower. It was just bad luck.
Oof.
Like, it was just bad luck that hit this character. And it's like, that's refreshing in a way, because it's at least not making their queerness, like, a point of tragedy.
Right, right.
Because bad luck just happens to every single person.
Yeah, it's maybe one of those situations where they're playing into some stereotypes not intentionally.
Right.
And like in a vacuum, what they're doing would be fine. It's just it happens to line up with some overly prevalent like beats, I guess,
Right.
and it's just unfortunate by association.
I at least appreciated that it showed that bad luck can happen to everyone, but it affects these types of people a lot harder.
Right.
And it did examine some of, like, the patriarchal bullshit in Japanese society of, like, so basically the main trio in that movie are basically a young girl, the queer crossdresser, and an older man. And the older man's story is basically that he comes up with all of these different stories of why he's homeless, but he never reveals the truth until it basically comes down to his business wasn't doing well, and he just left his family out of shame. But then, while that is not necessarily, like, ideal or, you know, what you should do, that kind of follows, like, a very deep-rooted sense of shame and pride in Japanese society, especially with men and their businesses.
Right.
So I appreciate it to some extent, but yeah, but anyway, I'm also trying to find a sticker that kind of bounced off. That's the problem with RG kits. They do have these stickers which love to just get lost. So luckily I can just ramble on a bit about Perfect Blue. Because Perfect Blue is kind of a terrifying movie. It's all about this one former J-pop idol star, and the movie starts with her, like, announcing that she's going to be leaving the J-pop scene to actually become an actress. And that spirals out of control because it essentially conflicts with her own sense of identity of who she's been as a performer for so long. But also, it starts affecting her because she has one very prevalent fan who's kind of a shitty stalker, who doesn't who doesn't appreciate this. But also, it shows how different the stress is between those two professions within, you know, the performance industry, because she goes from being, you know, an idol, which, you know, idol girls are very much objectified in a lot of different ways, but then she goes to being an actress, and to get a bigger role in the crime show she joined, I'm just gonna, like, let people know, like, this movie does have a lot of, like, sexual assault depicted in it, because it's a horror movie in a shitty way, but to get the bigger role in the show, she has to actually portray a rape victim. And then that, of course, traumatizes her, because that filming is, like, super, like...
That would be, yeah, very, very intense.
Yeah, like, I like performing. Honestly, if someone asked me to, like, play a role in in anything, I'd actually be super up for it. But I could never do that. I could never play that role.
Yeah, to do it convincingly, you would have to seriously put yourself in the mindset of some pretty awful stuff that we, by nature, are very good at avoiding because it's difficult to confront.
Exactly.
You'd have to open yourself up to such a degree.
I will say the movie does a good job of... How do I put it? It doesn't feel as voyeuristic. It more feels like it's criticizing the voyeurism surrounding how we portray victims, especially in media.
Yeah, that would be a tricky thing to pull off.
Saoirse Gon's actually pretty good at those subtle shifts, especially with just how it affects someone's mentality. Like, again, not actually going through that experience, you know, in air quotes, for real, but just having to relive that as part of a production, how that would affect someone mentally. Which I appreciate. But the movie basically is all about how do you separate your public persona from, like, your actual identity. And
right,
do you have control over your identity once it is out in the public space?
Right, and I would imagine for like, especially for like idols and like hosts and other people whose like profession involves very much putting their identity out there and being very publicly having their image not necessarily owned by other people, but consumed by other people.
Exactly, yeah. But that's the
Like,
thing, like that consumption in some cases can become ownership.
right.
So that's a whole thing.
And really, like, that does kind of relate to not necessarily us as much, but like the space we're in with like internet celebrity culture.
Right. That was actually
Because
yeah.
like people who do streams are, by the nature of streaming, a lot closer to their fan base than most other entertainers would be.
Yeah.
Like you're directly communicating with people. People who like your work have the ability to actually have a conversation with you, and well, that's awesome and has led to some amazing things that can also make that line between, a sense of ownership over the work you do and, your independence as a private person really murky.
Yeah, definitely. That was actually the point that Super Eye Patch Wolf's video was pointing at, that like in like the late 90s, this movie was basically about like celebrity culture, and it would only affect
Right.
like pop stars and mainstream celebrities. But now it becomes a very much like ahead of its time movie about just social media and people who perform on social media. Like, as much as it may not necessarily directly correlate with my own experiences, that's kind of something I do have to take into consideration these days.
Yep, absolutely.
That's kind of like, that's so fucking weird and scary. But yeah, I definitely recommend that movie. If you're a fan of horror and thrillers, definitely go, like, watch that movie. It's fantastic, but it's also just terrifying. Just double checking if I got the right pieces for this one. Can't find the other sticker. Honestly, I'm not too fast because a lot of these stickers don't show up. It's kind of the annoying thing of, like, only I will know the sticker's not there.
Yeah, that's the thing sometimes. That's you knowing is what bothers you.
Yeah, but I can live with it. That's the thing. Especially like
Compromises.
Hmm?
Compromises have to be made.
Compromises do have to be made. I did cut out the wrong piece by accident because I was looking at the wrong part of the frame, which is okay.
Well, you'd have to do it eventually.
Yeah, exactly. Just saves me some future work. But yeah, I'm trying to think. Saoirse Conan is also kind of, I guess, the mentor of the woman. Oh, what was her name? I'm so bad at remembering some specific Japanese names. She was the creator of Yuri on Ice. So,
Okay.
pretty cool of him actually, because during like the 90s, 2000s, he straight up was fighting for this woman to get into the anime industry because he was so impressed by her.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, he basically got a lot of her projects. If, for any anime fans out there, if you haven't seen even Yuri on Ice, if you've seen, like, the openings to shows like Samurai Champloo, she worked on those. Like, she's a very stylistic director, and I love that. And also, Joel, she was also the one who worked on the Persona 5 opening.
Oh, yeah, that's a cool opening.
Yeah, and you can say... The best thing is, she made that before Yuri on Ice, and that's just... She's made, like, 5 different animations, including that one, that are basically all about ice skating. Because her ice skating is like, that's her gunpla. Like, that's her thing. She's
Sure, like that's her passion.
Yeah. Which is interesting to examine now because she actually finally got her like dream project made with Yuri on Ice about a queer love story in ice skating, which is great. Unfortunately, really the only criticism I have of that show is actually it gets too bogged down in the ice skating.
I suppose that's a risk when you're doing something about something you're passionate about.
Right. Like, it basically was the case where the first third of that show is really tight about storytelling, especially with the two main characters and their, like, budding relationship. And then by the second third, it introduces a whole bunch of international ice skaters who we barely really even see afterwards. and it kind of detracts from the rest of like that very intimate storytelling. Otherwise, though, I would highly recommend that show. I loved it to bits. It's got some issues, but they're issues that aren't really like unique to the show itself.
I've definitely seen a lot of buzz about it, just on the general internets.
Oh yeah, that show like was so huge. It basically it crashed like Crunchyroll servers for a bit. All right, so we actually got the leg booster now. Got the mobility. I also like that it's posable.
Yeah, that points of mobility are always a plus with figurines.
That's honestly the thing. Yeah, like
how much articulation?
Yeah, that is always the thing I'm super happy about with Gundam kits is that you build these kits and they just pose like action figures, and you don't get that from most other things. Like they're definitely like
yeah, with a lot of other model building, it's very rigid, and often situations where okay, I'm finished with it, I'm going to put it somewhere safe, don't touch it.
Yeah. Some kits are definitely like that, especially a lot of the Master Grade kits, they get a bit fragile, and yeah, like, honestly, I don't play around with my kits as much, but that doesn't mean I don't want the option if I wanted to repose them, and it makes it easy when I actually have to, like, move stuff around, because then I can just take them apart or pose them in, like, a very, like, compact manner, and then put them away, and then pull them back out and repose them.
Right, yeah, that's what I like about the stuff I collect, is being able to, set up little dioramas and, like, change them up from time to time.
Yeah, definitely. Speaking of dioramas, I'm very excited for the GBWC, the Gunpla Builders World Cup that's going to be happening in August.
Oh, right, yeah, you were mentioning that.
Yeah, I packed away my Painted Grays kit, which is basically done, and that's my, like, that was my planned entry all this time, but since it's kind of already done and I've got, like, 2 months to kill, I actually thought I might want to take on another project that, if I can get done in time, that will be my main entry.
That's not bad, because like if you aren't able to get to it in time, it's no big deal. You have something.
Exactly.
But
yeah.
if you do have the time, then that can be your practice run.
Yeah, definitely. And I've definitely learned a lot about hand painting from that Grays kit a lot. God, hand painting is excruciating slow and like annoying when I make mistakes, but it's also nice that that has become one of my things in my Gunpla club for my hobby shop. Like, I'm the person that people go like, oh yeah, she just straight up just hand paints her kits, no airbrush, no, like, rattle cans.
I mean, it's something to be proud of, especially when it turns out nice.
Yeah. People are very impressed by it, and, like, I've learned a lot of good hand painting techniques from the people who do, like, hand paint their own stuff as well, or just, like, do touch-ups. And there's a lot of good guides out there for painting Gunpla.
Well, the other good thing to keep in mind, I mentioned this because it's something I have to remind myself of when I'm working on projects, is sometimes when you're doing a project, it's not about what's the most efficient or necessarily even the most effective way of getting something done. Sometimes it's about the process.
Yeah, definitely.
And like if you're doing something the hard way or the long way, that's not necessarily to the detriment of your work.
No, definitely not, especially for Gunpla, because you and I have talked about this. I've gone too quick at Gunpla. Like, I'm being methodical here because this is a very, like, pristine, nice-looking kit. But for most kits, I will just, like, slam it together in no time.
Right, yeah, you get used to the process, you start doing stuff more subconsciously. Like, you're not necessarily thinking about all the steps as you're doing them.
Yeah, and painting is nice because it forces me to slow down, honestly. Even on some of my, like, straight builds, for the most part, I'm painting, like, there's actually a kit I'm building right now where I accidentally ruined a black sticker for a black and gold part. It's supposed to, like, the part you get is all gold, and you're supposed to put a black sticker over it to give some highlight or accentuation and contrast. I accidentally ripped the sticker, so I was like, well, I've got black paint, so I actually just ended up painting this. And that felt
nice.
Good. It felt nice
Yeah.
to just, like, go, oh, I can correct this, and I can feel good about it as well.
Yeah, I've actually been thinking about picking up some model paint. My Legacy Dragon Zord has a slight paint defect where some of the gold paint is on the black parts.
Oh, okay.
And it's not a huge deal, but it's visible enough to me that it bugs me.
Right, it's the thing we're talking about. You know it's there. Like...
Yep.
Yeah, that's also the good thing, like, some cases, like, those little touch-ups are easy because you can just paint over a lighter color with a darker color, and it will completely cover it up.
Yeah, the only thing I'm concerned about is the finish of it, because the plastic's kind of glossy.
Well, in that case,
So I'm worried
then,
if I like.
yeah.
I'm just worried like if I try to like sand down the gold and like repaint over it, it's not gonna blend.
I would suggest then you can look into actually hand-painted primer and top coat.
Okay.
Yeah, I definitely know the brand I've got, which is there's Mr. Color and Tamiya, and both of them have pots like this you can get. Actually, I've got where is it? Yeah, I've actually got a top coat pot right here. That's a glossy one. It's basically just like clear nail, like base coat nail polish or top coat polish.
Sure.
So it's pretty handy for that. Okay, this next booster is pretty much done. Yeah, I'll show you. The sticker was supposed to go in this tiny pot, but again,
Oof. Yeah, I would not be able to do stickers like that.
yeah. But however, like it's mostly covered up once you close that red piece. So I don't really care that I'm missing a sticker on this booster.
Have I told you about my Super Van City?
Yo, I'm sorry. What?
Okay, so when I was a kid, there was a Micro Machines playset called the Super Van City.
Yeah.
It was when you get it, it's like in the shape of a like panel van, and then
Okay.
you like fold it out, and it's this whole city that you can drive your Micro Machines around on.
Sure. Yeah.
Really, really cool. They had commercials all the time. I wanted it really bad. Got
Of
it
course.
for, I assume, Christmas or a birthday or something, because it's about the only time I got to plays like that.
Mhm.
The problem is, it was one of those things where it had all the accessories and all the like decals were separate, and you had to put them on yourself.
Oh boy.
I have never been good at that. I tried very hard to carefully put stuff on, but some of them were super misaligned, and the absolute worst was there was this racetrack section where it was like the mechanics for it. So like there was springs underneath the track.
Right.
Like you could pull this piece back, you put your little Micro Machines on there, and then press down a thing, and it would shoot them off.
Okay.
So you could actually make them race or whatever.
Nice.
That's great, but the track had some stickers you're supposed to lay down for like the line markings or something, and I was trying very hard to get it lined up right and couldn't get it. I was getting frustrated, and somehow managed to get it caught in the gap for the like plunger for actually launching the things.
Oh no.
And that's when it finally stuck properly. So we still have that thing, and there is one of the stickers decals for it is literally inside that spring mechanism. Like you can kind of see it through the gaps, and it infuriates me to this day.
That sucks. Yeah, there's a couple Gunpla kits I've got which are like, they're fine. I like them a bunch. I'm happy with like how they turned out, but also there's just some parts I can see. I'm like, god damn it. Like, one day
Yep,
I'll fix you.
yeah. Every Lego set I have where I put a decal on slightly crooked, and like you can't restick those. Like I tried
No,
once,
you
and
cannot.
that one's just gone now because you
Yep.
can't.
Like, what can you do?
90% of it stuck, but the corner kept popping up and eventually just got peeled off.
Yep. Like, there's nothing you can do. It really sucks. Yeah, I'm scared of decals and stuff. Stickers are okay, because it's like, I'm getting better at putting those on. Decals are just like, especially water slide ones, like, I don't know what the fuck to do.
Right. The worst is when it's fine detail, so the material is super thin, because then it's so easy to like.
Just rip.
It's so difficult to get it. Well, it's so difficult to get it from the like paper it comes on to the object it needs to be on.
Exactly.
Without
Yeah.
dropping it, accidentally getting it stuck to something else, or like you said, tearing it. Like
It's tough. It's tough. Alright, we got one kneecap done. I love the bend of this. Like, just seeing actually all the mechanics in it, if you can get a bit more light there. Just seeing that whole
oh yeah, there's a lot of different points of movement in there. That's satisfying to me in the same way that like cabinetry hinges are satisfying to me.
You fucking dork.
I was in Menards, which is a local like hardware store chain,
Right.
um, recently, and I was looking at their I was just browsing around. I was looking at their appliances, and they had a washing machine that the door was designed so you could either um front load or side load it.
Ooh.
So like if you press down on the handle from the top and pull down, it would come down kind of like an oven door.
Right.
But if you pressed on the side and opened it, it would open to the side like a car door. And I spent like 2 minutes just playing around with that, watching how the hinges like interlock, because the method of actually making that work is pretty elegant.
Oh yeah, I bet. Like especially because that has to also go through a design process to make it look aesthetically pleasing too.
Right, yeah. So it's a combination of looking good, being functional, and being designed in a way where it's not going to break after 6 months of using it. Because
Exactly.
a
Yeah.
washing machine is something you're going to be opening and closing that thing thousands of times in its lifetime. Like it's got
Exactly.
to hold up.
Yeah. All right. Those are the legs done. Oop, that immediately fell over.
I was gonna say those are some good looking gams, but maybe not the most sturdy.
You never know. I mean, they're pretty good. They're pretty solid.
Well, to be fair, I guess it's a lot harder to stay upright when you don't have a torso connecting them.
Right. I will say this kit is known for being a little fragile when it comes to when it comes to the torso because it's so back heavy and there's basically a lot of plastic on the frame.
Yep, that's always a potential problem with figurines like this.
Yeah.
Like just the balance and the weight ratios,
Yeah.
center of gravity, all that. Like it's tough to maintain.
Yeah.
And like if the joints are tight enough, you can, it doesn't really matter so much because it's not going to go anywhere. But especially when you're building it yourself, I imagine they can't make them that tight.
Yeah, exactly. Alright, so I guess we can move on to now. Let me look at the waist unit. This is the thing. Most Gunpla instructions, they start you building the torso and head. No,
Right, yeah, you mentioned that. You like to build from ground up.
I build it from ground up. RG kits always start from ground up, and I love it. Because it's the right way, damn it.
I do like out of context you going, okay, I've got the legs done, so what's next? Oh, the waist! Waist!
Yeah. It basically is the foot bones connected to the leg bone. Gunpla is just a more advanced version of that song. Alright,
Them bones, them metal bones. I guess plastic since they're kits, but...
There's some metal builds out there. They're super expensive, though, and I don't want to try that.
Oh, I would imagine.
That all sounds like hell. Alright, I gotta get the B frame. Also, now you've got that freaking last episode of The Prison in my head now. God, that's a good show.
I haven't actually ever seen it.
There's... That song, plays a bit in the last episode. So that's why I know.
It's one that's always kind of been on my I should check this out list, and I've just never gotten around to it.
You'd especially like it. Put it this way, it's all of the really cool, what the hell's going on, I want to know how this works out part of Westworld as a show.
Right.
It is a really good mystery of a show.
I know a bit of the impact would be lost just through, like, the amount of, like, cultural impact it's had over the years.
Oh, just like the amount of Simpsons references, because, it's really hilarious going back and going, oh my god, so much of The Simpsons references this weird, psychedelic, show, from the 60s from Britain,
Right, I mean, that the people who were making that show were colossal nerds, and the stuff they watched and obsessed over when they were kids is what got poured into that show, which is why it's full of Citizen Kane, 2001: A Space Odyssey, Prisoner.
Those at least, Citizen Kane and 2001: A Space Odyssey are at least, film classics. I'm always amused by the fact that, they were making Doctor Who references before the 2005 reboot,
Oh yeah, well before.
Yeah. Before
yeah,
Doctor
I mean,
Who became, prevalent again in America.
I mean, yeah, that's like they really did pioneer reference-based humor.
They at least did it well.
But yeah, right, right. That's the thing. Like the people who have tried to imitate them or who have, learned from that didn't understand why it worked or how it worked.
Right.
But
I have a tumultuous opinion of I still think the very first season of even Family Guy actually is still alright with that. Because the referencing
Family
was not
Guy,
obnoxious.
right, early Family Guy had its moments.
I still laugh at Spider-Man saving Peter Griffin and just simply stating, everybody gets one.
Yeah, yeah, some of the actual like creative humor that was in that show early on is good.
Yeah.
And I think that's been the biggest problem is over the years they've jettisoned more and more of the original like actually funny stuff for just more straight up reference humor or like shock value stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, that's always been a thing.
And
Yeah.
like I get it that's
It
those two
sells.
things are well they sell and it's also like a million times easier to do.
Exactly.
So like I get it, especially when you're trying to pump out, a cartoon on a regular basis. But at the same time, like it's just frustrating that that's what sticks around and the stuff that was actually, compelling and made it feel worth watching is what gets lost.
Yeah. I definitely am that person who feels like the time constraints on those creative shows really make really sometimes can just make or break something entirely.
Yeah, I mean, look at one of the most consistently good cartoons out there, Venture Brothers,
Yeah.
and how fucking long it takes them to make new episodes of that show.
Look at the Steven Universe even.
Yeah,
I honestly
like
don't mind waiting.
right, yeah, no, exactly. Like that's always been the thing. Like Venture Brothers is gonna release a half season every 5 years or whatever for however long they keep doing it, and that's fine because they're working at a pace that lets them make the show what they want it to be,
Yeah.
and that absolutely comes through.
Yeah. That was the thing as well. I was watching other videos about just the manga industry because I was curious about what that's how that's handling at the moment, especially in regards to Naruto's ended, Bleach was cancelled. What the hell's the manga industry like at the moment?
Right, yeah, that's some major vacuums to fill.
Well, there's still the big titan of One Piece, and the interesting thing is that manga sales on average have not dropped for a lot of contemporaries between the years of 2010 2016 from what I saw of charts. The only one affected has been One Piece, which has had a drop of 20 million sales in those 6 years, and everything else is still doing okay. So that's been an interesting thing of me seeing that and me talking to my best friend who is the One Piece fanatic I know, and him saying oh, it's actually due to this very key issue of there was basically a hive band thing of hey, I'm gonna do this arc that's supposed to only take a few issues, ends up being 50.
Yeah, that's always a problem with in progress media. Like if you're writing the story as it's being aired
Right.
and you don't have it all prepped ahead of time, it's really easy to lose the scope.
And one of the most interesting things is the strength and power of the editorial aspect of the manga industry. Most famous example is Dragon Ball Z, when it was in its manga format when it first started the Android saga, and there are 3 famous phone calls between Akira Toriyama's editor to himself. And the editor, when the first Android saga appeared, was so what, these are the bad guys, an old geezer and a fat dude? And then Toriyama went, okay, fine, I'll introduce Android, 18 and 19. And, whatever. And then, and then he responded, he got another call from there saying, these are just 2 fucking brats. What are you doing? And so he created Cell. And then he got one more phone call, was just he's an ugly alien. I don't like this. And then he made Perfect Cell. This pretty ass Bishan and villain. Like, and yet, you would, out of context, that all seems horrible, but the Cell Saga is one of the best sagas of Dragon Ball Z. Like,
Yeah, no, it actually, yeah, somehow he made it work really well for an actual ongoing narrative.
and he admits that, like, by that point, Toriyama admits that he was just working chapter to chapter. Like, he didn't have a grand scheme or anything, so it worked out in the end. I just love that. Like, you create this storyline, it's just me, like, editor going, it's a fucking geezer and a fat dude. Like, I don't see the threat here. Like,
yeah, well, imagine if the editor hadn't stepped in. What would that story arc have
I know, right?
been like?
Like, because that would have had to have links back to the Red Ribbon Army bullshit from Dragon Ball, from just original Dragon Ball. God. That's always so bizarre to me. I appreciate that. But, yeah, it was actually interesting looking at, because I've always known for a fact that the manga industry is way more brutal than even the Western comics industry in terms of, like, work ethic.
Oh, yeah, I would imagine so.
It's the case where I think the creator of Naruto had, he made a formula for the amount of time a manga artist actually has in their daily life of free time. And on a week-by-week basis, the formula ends up being, when you actually consider, like, sleep, basic needs, amenities, and, like, needing to shower and stuff, and then you actually calculate how much work they have to do, and the weekly deadlines they need to meet, the average mangaka, like, artist and writer, gets 3 to 4 hours of free time a week.
A week?
A week.
Oh, boy.
Right?
You'd better really like what you do, because
3 to 4 hours of free time.
I could not function like that.
Yeah. Like, even now, this would be all of the time we've just wasted if we were, like, manga artists. Like,
Yeah, this would have been our entire week's, like, time off.
yeah,
Just spent on this stream.
right? Like, how fucked up is that? It's always been the sad thing where, like,
I am curious, though, like, what's that compared to the average Japanese businessman's free time?
Right.
Because I know the work ethic just in Japan overall is way different from what we're used to.
I am not sure. I have to double check with some sources of mine to, like, have a...
Like, I mean,
better
I'm
idea.
sure it's better than that, but I'm curious by how much.
Well, I imagine... Well, here's the thing. At least Japanese business people, for the most part, just your basic salaryman, they don't take their work home with them.
Right.
Which allows
For me,
for a lot more
that's
free time.
always the biggest thing. Like, if I have to work late some nights, or maybe put in a longer week because stuff's going on, that's fine. I can deal with that.
Yeah.
As long as whenever it is I end up being able to get off, I can come home and do my own thing and not have to think about work until I go back in.
Exactly.
I'm happy.
Yeah, definitely. That is one of the things I'm going to have to deal with when it comes to being a teacher in the future. Like, I just have to deal with the fact that I'm going to be
Yeah,
doing...
you literally have to take your work home with you.
Yep. But, hey, that's alright. Like, I went into the profession knowing this.
Right.
Oh, well,
Yeah, and like I said, if you actually like what you do, that's not nearly as much of a problem.
Well, we'll see. I've yet to actually properly teach a class, but hey, kids like me, so,
I mean, that's half the battle right there.
Yeah, definitely. I remember some people in my class being so resistant to this idea that... Because there was a simple suggestion from an existing teacher of, like, hey, you're just going to need to actually keep up to date with, like, the trends of, like, kids. And, like, know
Right.
what celebrities they even like, as well. And people were just like, oh, I don't want to do that. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing then? Like, you need to be on top of your
like,
game.
If you can't relate to the kids, you're not going to be able to interact with them in a meaningful way.
Like, whatsoever. Like...
And if you aren't interested in relating to kids, do you want to be a teacher?
Exactly.
Because that's like part and parcel.
It kind of is, like, the whole deal with this. Like... Oh, I kind of got that way in a row. See, this is the problem. It's kind of hard to tell in instruction sometimes. This is back to front. And you would not be able to know that.
So they need IKEA style, like, stickers showing you which end is the front.
They kind of do that sometimes, but, like, it's weird just trying to match that up. And luckily, it's an easy fix. Like, I just fixed this in like 2 seconds. So, you know, I'm not gonna complain really. It's mostly just a funny.
I suppose as long as it's not one of those things where you don't realize it's backwards until you're trying to hook it up to something bigger and end up having to undo a bunch of work.
Right, which I've definitely done.
Because yeah, I've had stuff where I was assembling it where if you just put something in backwards the wrong way, you won't notice until you're halfway done assembling the thing.
Yeah.
And then lose like 20 minutes of labor having to tear everything apart to fix it.
Yeah. That can be really annoying, especially with Gunpla, especially the polycaps, those little connector pieces. Because you just put together like the frame or like the armor, and it's like, wait, that thing doesn't actually connect to anything because there's no connector piece inside.
I will say this though, regardless if it's like building like a model kit or like furniture or what have you, physical construction will always be less infuriating than like electronics stuff.
Yeah,
because the fun about electronics is you can visually have everything looking like it's hooked up right, but have it not work right and have to try and figure out why.
Yep.
And when you don't have, like, if you're putting together a kit and something isn't fitting together right, you can look at it and see this isn't right.
Yeah, something's wrong.
You can, yeah, you might not be able to pick it out right away, but if you inspect the thing, you will eventually see the problem because, like, it's a physical problem.
Exactly.
If you have just a board full of wires connected to one another and the signal you're getting isn't right, like, it's a lot of work to figure out why and to trace that back, and there's a lot of redoing things that you've done before and not really knowing if you're doing it right or not.
You've completely nailed why I'm terrified to build my own computer.
Oh, computers are a cinch compared to, like...
Oh, like yeah, compared to, like, delicate electronics, yes. But, like, for someone who's never, like, done that at all, and... Yeah.
Right, the actually assembling a computer isn't bad. It's if something doesn't work right, figuring out why, that's
exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah. Yeah, it's also hard budgeting, because I don't want to, like, get a computer that can, like, play, games really well, but then not actually play games a lot, because I don't have the time for it, to be honest.
Right, yeah, that feels like you've wasted your money then.
But I also want to get, like, I should honestly invest in a computer that can handle, like, digital drawing and design a lot better.
Right. Yeah, and see, and that's tricky because the stuff you want for doing better, like graphics and video work, for instance, doesn't really translate well to game performance.
Exactly, yeah.
I mean, and it can, like, consumer grade graphics cards have gotten a lot better at professional grade graphics functions.
Yeah.
And, like, the experts will all say, like, if you're looking for a machine that does both, get a gaming card that does decent at like professional level graphics work.
Yeah.
Don't get a professional level graphics card and try to game with it.
Yeah, exactly. That's my thinking.
And there are some games that take advantage of, like, multi-threading and other stuff that the types of processors you'd really want for that kind of work are good at. So it's definitely getting easier to build a computer that's good at both.
Yeah.
But there's definitely compromises you have to make.
Exactly. And to be honest, I'm at least not, like, I don't super care that much about frame rate. I mostly care about just, like, will it look good on my computer?
So here's the thing with PC gaming, because I've been doing it for a long time. Frame rate is important, but not necessarily in getting a specific number of frames per second. It's about getting consistent frames per second.
Yeah, that's the thing.
There's a metric that you don't see in, or at least you never used to see in benchmarks very much, that has started to become more popular, where it doesn't just look at the frame rate over time or average frame rate or those kinds of things. It looks at the maximum amount of time between frames.
Okay.
Because something that you'll run into a lot with cards that are having trouble keeping up with the rendering for a game is that average frame rate will be great. Like you'll get an average 30 frames per second easily.
Mm-hmm.
But within that second, 29 of those frames will happen, one after another, and then there'll be a big gap between one of them.
Right.
And the visual effect of that is so much worse than just a kind of crappy frame rate that's consistent could ever be, because then it's either juddery or like your movement isn't fluid enough, and like it's really easy to get motion sick or get headaches or eye strain, or just like if you're actually playing a shooter or something like that, if that one frame skips is where you're shooting, can completely fuck you up.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I mean, it's also the case where this is the benefit of having a boyfriend who likes PC gaming. I might just have his computer be the PC gaming one.
I mean, yeah, that's... If you aren't going to be both playing PC games together a lot, that's the way to do it.
Yeah. I mean, I am not a MOBA girl. He is a MOBA boy. I don't touch the MOBA.
Kids don't touch the MOBA.
I'm not gonna lie, I actually like Heroes of the Storm a decent amount. I just don't play it that often. I've been trying to get back into Overwatch lately just to get that Genji Kamen Rider skin, but oh god, I forgot how much I don't care for, like, I'm not a mouse and keyboard person when it comes to shooters.
Huh.
Because I didn't grow up.
It's the only way I can play them.
Yeah. For me, that's just, I never grew up that way. Alright. I'm actually curious, because I've unfortunately got some nub marks and some sanding, like, buff scratches on this piece, but I do have that top coat. And it's very glossy.
You're thinking of fixing it?
Yeah, you know what, I'm just gonna paint one little bit and see what happens. Alright.
Getting experimental on this stream.
Yeah, why not? Oh god, that is strong, that smell.
Yeah, I can imagine, like, I've worked with similar types of things before, and yeah, that can be overwhelming.
Yeah, acrylics are very much like, oh hey, what's up? You're on my nose now.
They've been doing a lot of construction at my office.
Mm-hmm.
They recently built a new wing on the building, and there's just been a million like little things, installing doors and hallways and whatnot. And
right.
Earlier this week, they were painting one of the doors, which meant the door was open for most of the day. So my morning went from smelling like freshly cut grass, which was awesome.
Yeah.
To smelling like, diesel, I guess, from lawnmowers, which was less awesome.
Yep.
To smelling like door paint, which gave me a headache that was so bad that I eventually left work early.
Yeah, that's not great. Yeah.
It's incredibly frustrating to have that kind of stuff happening during normal business hours. And, like, I get it, because, like, that's when the construction people are working. But,
exactly, yeah.
like, it was harder for them because this guy was trying to install this door in the hallway that was directly between our offices and the bathrooms.
Right.
So there was constantly foot traffic because, you've got, a couple dozen people who throughout the day are going to need those bathrooms.
Right.
So it was very hard for him to get enough time to actually do any of the assembly that he needed to do because he was constantly getting interrupted. And it was really frustrating for us just trying to go to the bathroom or the break room and having to navigate around this door that was closed and being worked on.
Yeah.
And, like, it's just not a good situation for anyone.
No. That actually cleaned up those scuff marks very nicely, so I might actually do that to a couple of parts on the legs now. This is great.
So if you just do a really light, like, top layer to touch stuff up, how long does it take to dry?
Very light, honestly within an hour.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, that's a good thing about acrylics, they dry real quick. I
right.
like that for my painting classes at art school because oils are the ones that you get a lot more control over the color.
Right.
And it honestly will look better in the long run. But unfortunately, the case with oils is that they take so long to dry. Like, even 24 hours may not be enough for oils.
It's about acrylics, the same thing that makes them so pungent, makes them dry quick.
Yep. Alright. I should test that at the moment, see how that's faring, because that's such a thin coat I applied, that's pretty much dry now, because it's basically like nail polish in a way.
Right.
So I can still attach that piece on and let that dry on the actual part, rather than me getting it grubby with my hands and stuff. Alright, let's pop that in. Oh. Yep. See if I can actually get that in a little bit more, because that's a little bit... It's jutting out still a bit. Oh, I hate this. I hate, like, this feels so delicate still putting together, because of this, like, grade of Gunpla.
Right. So you hate using force?
Yeah. Alright, and the best thing is, if I don't like the consistency of that coat, I can actually just sand it down again later on with a very, like, 1500 grade sandpaper. So yeah, we're getting some bit more variety than we normally would on the Julie Makes Grade thanks to my new painting skills. Finally, art school came in handy. Only had to pay a few $1,000s for that. Which, yeah, like, compared to American costs, I can't complain.
Yeah, a few $1,000s, huh? Man.
Yeah. Best thing is, I'm also going to repurpose this bottle of water to actually use this mug to wash off the top coat from my brush.
Look at that, ingenuity.
Yeah, thing is, it's not going to wash off all of it, but the best thing is, I can just wash off a bit, get one of my drying napkins, and then, where is it? Where did I put it? So I've got some good old paint thinner, and my box of Q-tips. This is how I clean my brushes, like, from use to use and color to color. All this color to color, I would use my paint remover. So, just run that Q-tip with paint thinner over the brush. Lightly, just make sure everything's off it. Cover that back up. And give that one more water rinse. Yeah, that's a clean brush. Alright. Pop that
Efficient.
back. Yeah, no, I've gotten very used to, just, like, coming up with my own ways of, like, quickly fixing things with paint.
That's the other nice thing about a craft like this is there's just something inherently satisfying about having processes like that where you're gonna do this, and done.
Yeah. Alright, what else did I need? C7, did I pop that piece on yet? No, I have not. Where did I put that? Did that? Did that fall somewhere?
This is the problem. This is the problem with those processes. Is as you're pulling stuff out, it's really easy to lose track of things.
Yep, that fell out. Luckily, I've gotten really good at spotting gunpla pieces on the floor. Let me tell you.
See, now this is something I can relate to because I have dropped Lego pieces like at my feet and somehow had them just completely disappear.
Yeah, that's you. I've developed some form of, like, echolocation system in my head. Like, just knowing where things have fallen. Alright. Got that waist unit nearly done. Actually, I can just straight up connect that to the legs now, so that's even better for the drying.
I have it completely suspended.
Yeah. Oh, it's still the thing of using the force, though. I don't like using force on these kits. I say that having bitten pieces together with my teeth.
Well, I mean, we've all been there.
We've all been there. Listen. Alright, that's looking pretty good. Show that for the camera. Gonna take a picture.
Look at that
now.
crotch.
Yeah, gunpla crotch. Let me just get a picture of that. I'm always satisfied with in-progress shots a lot.
Do any of the Gunpla have actual crotch rockets?
I don't know. I think a couple of them do actually have Zone of the Ender style straight up literal cockpits.
Nice.
But yeah, I don't know about crotch rockets. I'll have to investigate that.
It doesn't seem like the best place to put a booster, like just from a physics standpoint.
Oh, but you can put like a missile there.
Yeah, I suppose.
Alright, next up we're making what are known as front and side skirts. So, we get to use the golden one. So, we've got the gold part, we've got the... Again, the nice thing about having done so much Gunpla, you kind of gain a knowledge of, like, what frames are what. And I know for a fact, when they asked me to use cut from A-frame will always be multicolored.
Huh, okay. Well, that makes it easy to find.
Yeah. I always know C and G are usually, like, inner frame stuff, so I always look for, like, plain, matte, gray, and black, which is pretty nice. So H and A, and then...
It's interesting the mental shortcuts you develop for a process that you do regularly.
Yeah,
It's one of those things...
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those things where I never notice until I have to show somebody else how to do something.
Yep.
That I realize... Because I'll just go through and, like, just at work when I'm, pulling stuff up or, looking something up, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'll just use keyboard shortcuts to pull stuff up, and, like, it's fastest just to, like, hit the search button and type in a specific, like, 3 letters to immediately get the thing, and then you can just hit enter, and, all these shortcuts where I've done this process so much, I know exactly how it's going to play out, and don't stop to actually look at what I'm doing because I know what's coming up. And then realizing that the person I'm trying to show stuff is completely lost because they don't have that experience.
Yeah. Welcome to Curse of Knowledge. Like, it's really hard to pass that along. It's a simple test we actually learned about in teaching on, like, one of our first weeks was... the test was, like, a psychologist brought in... like, they had a couple of kids outside of the room. Like, around, like, 7-8-year-olds. And
Sure.
They bring the first kid, and then ask them, they show them a box of M&Ms, they go, what do you think is inside this box? And they go, M&Ms, it's candy. Sure, okay. Open the box. Inside the box is just string. And then they go, oh, okay, there's string inside. So then...
Like the worst Halloween.
Yes. And then they ask them to bring in the second kid, while the first kid is still in the room. They bring the second kid, and they ask the first kid, what do you think he's going to say if I ask him what's inside this box? And the kid immediately goes, string. Because to him, he knows that
right,
there's string inside.
Yeah, that's obvious knowledge, right.
Exactly, but... And then it's... They said this is basically the whole, like, manifestation of why tech support is so hard.
Right.
Because how do you pass on that knowledge that you already know that is very easy to, like, reconcile and recollect for yourself to someone else?
When a piece of knowledge... This is what I was always great at math in high school and terrible at helping people with math.
Right.
Because when you reach a point of understanding of something where it's implicit knowledge, it's very hard to explain why to someone. Because it's like trying to explain to somebody how walking actually works.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you just walk. It's so second nature that the thing explains itself to you.
I honestly think I developed a knack as a kid. As a kid who loves weird and interesting facts and wants to explain them to people, I developed a weird knack of, like, how to explain shit to things.
Yeah, I've come to the realization that if I need to teach people stuff, I'm better off just making them do it and guiding them.
Right.
Because otherwise I can't separate my implicit knowledge from knowledge that needs to be imparted to them.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard. Like, it's a challenge that we as teachers have to also, like, deal with. Like, how do we convey our content knowledge to, like, kids?
Right, yeah, I imagine it's really easy to get into a situation where, like, to use an actual example of something that happened somewhat recently, to be like, so you know the USA flavor of Mountain Dew, right?
Oh god, yeah. Okay, yeah.
And so when they say no, it's like, okay, well, so it's, whiteout and voltage. What are those? Okay, so the democracy campaign.
Yeah,
You just
no,
have to keep
yeah,
working your way backwards through all these layers of things until you find the common point of understanding,
yeah.
and then work your way back up from there.
I still hate that that exists. I still hate that I know this now.
Yeah, this is knowledge that has taken the place of something more useful that could be in your brain.
Yeah, and I will never know. Because that thing's gone. Bye. God, it was always funny.
The color of combining red Mountain Dew, blue Mountain Dew, and white Mountain Dew is a sort of grungy purple.
That makes sense. I mean,
it looks like Coca-Cola that's wrong somehow.
Like grape Coca-Cola?
Kind of, yeah.
I mean, mix red and blue, that makes purple, and then the white, I imagine, like, there's something in that would create
It kind of muddies it, because the white isn't really white, it's more of, like
cream?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that makes sense, and that would definitely muddy the colors a lot. I mean, it's always the thing where, like, if you mix every color together, you get black. If you mix a few colors together, you're mostly just gonna get brown, no matter what.
Yep.
Color theory. Woo. I remember, Luke having to point out in our Pizza Party, Fate RPG game, because the whole deal is that, the city in that, setting is all about, like, different colored tiers of a mountain, of the rainbow.
Sure.
And it was basically me trying to figure that out, and then just, like, him having to really point out to me, like, no one else in this game cares about color theory as much as you do. We need to move on. I'm like, no, I need to figure this out.
It's like, okay, the god who literally created all of this does not care as much as you. There's nothing to figure out here.
Yep. It's like, oh, I guess. Yep, that's an odd piece to actually fit in. So basically we're fitting in this pipe, which is tiny, as you can see compared to my hand, into... Let me get a toothpick. So this...
Oh, that's pretty fiddly.
Yeah, into this tiny hole. This is fun. Gunpow's fun.
Yeah, this seems like one of those steps that I'd start getting really frustrated with.
I mean, that's kind of like the whole RG thing of like, hey, you want to build something super intricate? Yeah! At like a tiny scale? I guess. I'll buy it, because I'm an idiot consumer. Like...
It's one of those things where a lot of steps along the way are frustrating, but the end result is satisfying.
Oh, super, yeah. Definitely.
And that's life, so...
Yep. Oh, how do I... Because I'm trying to move this pipe into a locked position in this hole, and that's... I might
so
actually...
is the pipe flexible?
It is, which is good. Alright, there we go.
Good, but also in some ways more difficult when trying to jam it into something.
But I got it there thanks to the toothpick. So, I should use toothpicks more. They're very handy for these small parts. But yeah, I'm loving this contrast still of black and gold.
Oh yeah, that's very good look.
It's funny because, let me show you from the other kit I'm building, actually from this piece. So you can definitely see the difference in the high quality gold they use for these sort of like fancy kits, and then the regular high grade gold.
That's not gold, that's yellow.
Yeah, it's pretty much like a mustard yellow. I would definitely be painting this over with like a shine, like a top coat or like metallic coat.
Yeah, you wouldn't necessarily need to, honestly, just a different, like, luster would do a lot of good for it.
Yeah,
you wouldn't necessarily even need to, like, replace the paint altogether.
Yeah. That's the nice thing about learning how to paint, is that I know how to make, like, the cheap high-grade kits look better now.
Yeah, it's amazing what just changing the texture of something can do for its appearance.
Yeah, it's actually a nice thing when you apply some matte top coat spray to high grade kits. You immediately like eliminate that sort of glossy plasticky toy sheen to it.
Right. Yeah. There's a specific like visual element to cheap plastic.
Yep.
that can make even a like high-end thing look like a toy.
Exactly. Alright. That's actually something I really liked about the new Gundam kit, because the plastic sheen is still kind of there, but the nice thing is that they included these parts, which are nice, like, flat, matte, like, navy, gray, blue. Those are actually stickers.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like, they actually included matte stickers, which I found really cool, because it adds that different texture to the whole piece.
Yeah, that's interesting. And it's a cheap alternative to actually just making matte pieces.
Yeah, it's also nice as well for the green parts. So it's like translucent green for these frames, but the reason they shine is because they include foil stickers to put behind them to reflect light.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of really cool engineering in these kits, which I think you'd enjoy a lot.
Well, that's a really interesting approach too, because that's one good way to make that style of plastic not feel as like chintzy.
Yes.
Which is like having variations in texture. Because like if you have like, for instance, if the joints have a matte effect, then it looks more like kind of like a stormtrooper armor type effect.
Right. Yeah.
Because if you have pieces that aren't that same texture, then it looks like a layer on top of something more complex.
Definitely.
Whereas if everything is that exact same consistency, then it just feels like a crappy mold.
Yeah. I'm still mad you should remind me, because there are Bandai like Star Wars kits that you build like Gunpla.
Oh sure, right. I've actually seen those in Barnes and Noble.
The problem is though, we don't get a lot of them because of Disney licensing issues. In Australia, which, yeah, that's something the manager of my hobby store and also like the head of my Gunpla club, he really hates, and he's always trying to figure out a way around it to help out.
Right.
Because then, like, if he can't get them, it's not even just about losing business, it's about that even if he's losing business, people, like, who are now his friends and stuff, not just his customers, are going to distributors who, like, are paying or are gouging the prices a lot.
Right. Yeah, people are getting taken advantage of because of the lack of availability.
Exactly, yeah. Which
is the thing it's the thing that's always baffled me about like region locking stuff.
Right?
Is like, even if the demand isn't super high, like people who want that are going to get it one way or the other, and if you don't make it available, you aren't going to get a cut of the profits of them getting it. Like when people buy stuff on the third market, you as the creator of the thing suffer.
Exactly, yeah.
Like, I just don't understand the impetus there.
Yeah, that's always been the thing, especially with Gunpla. Like, so there's a series of like they're basically toy Gunpla kits called Petite Bear Guy, and they're basically tiny little colorful bears, and they come in.
Yeah, I've seen that guy.
Yeah, they're cool. And he keeps saying, like, they made a Panda Bear Guy, and he's always, whenever he visits like Japan, like the R&D division, he keeps asking, why don't you guys make a Koala Bear Guy? Like, that'd be really cool. Not even Aussie exclusive. That'd be really cool because everybody loves koalas.
Right. Yeah, they're adorable, and they're kind of I mean, there's a reason they're a like cultural icon for Australia, is because they're a very unique and memorable looking animal.
Yeah. And then he was told like they basically need like such a high minimum order of interest that they can't justify making it yet.
How would they go about gauging that interest?
It's really just from like social media.
Because I feel like that's a really hard thing to judge. Of okay, so we haven't made this thing, but if we did, how many people would buy it? Like,
well, the difference is that there's a much stronger survey culture in Japan. Like, the way Shonen Jump, the biggest manga publisher in Japan, the way they actually measure the rankings is to straight up just include a survey sheet in every single weekly issue. And you fill it out, send it back, and then that tells them what are their most popular manga. And that's how they've been able to determine that One Piece, Naruto, and Bleach were always the big three for, like, 5 consecutive years. So that's how they would normally do it, because when I open Gunpla, I sometimes get, like, little, like, survey or mail back things. which is really funny to me because like you don't get that really in like Western products as much.
Not anymore.
Yeah,
Back in the day, maybe.
and even then, that was still like a while ago.
Yeah, like well before I was a kid.
Yeah, exactly. So like, I guess that stuck around, so they're able to gauge interest more through that, and also sometimes like foreign markets don't always really like Japan doesn't. It's not about Japan not caring. It's about like, are they going to see really like any huge boom from that compared to like R&D
Right.
costs and shipping costs and licensing issues and like.
Well, and that's the thing from the corporate perspective is it's not enough for it to just sell enough to recoup your money. Like if it's not going to actually give you good profits,
Right.
like why would you do that over something that will give you more money?
There's a thing, so I've talked with you about Premium Bandai before and on the stream about
Yep.
like things that like are only available in Japan and like a couple other East Asian countries. And that's super annoying, and it sucks just because I don't want to pay like 5 times the price online from a third party like distributor to get something I want.
Right. Yeah, that's not only does it suck to like have to spend so much more of your own money, it sucks to know you're supporting such an exploitative and like crappy like market because
Yeah.
those third party markets can be really shitty.
Yeah, and there was a cool thing where my local hobby store, they actually were able to secure, because they got like enough interest from their Facebook group, like some of those premium Bandai kits. And I'm really hoping that people buy some more of those, because if they do, that means there's a likely a chance we'll get them, and we'll still have to pay more because we still have to cover like the currency exchange as well as the shipping and like import costs as well from a local from local chain. But that's better than having to shittily buy online when we can buy local instead.
Well, and those are understandable and reasonable costs to have to incur.
Right. Like, it's the only time I really buy online these days for Gunpla is when I buy in bulk, or if I get a significant like discount from buying online. Because if I go to a place like HLJ, Hobby Link Japan, which is my like #1 online distributor, this kit, for example, would cost maybe like $20 less, but to actually pay for shipping so I can get it within a week will cost that extra $20.
Right.
If I can wait 10 to 30 days, then I'll be paying like, $10 less. And that becomes the case, like, why not I just pay the extra $10 to get it now? Like, why don't I pay...
Yeah, it's not that big of a difference in price.
Yeah, the only big difference in price comes from when, like, I buy, like, 4 kits at once, and then I save, like, $40 to $50. I'm like, that's actually a good saving then.
Right. Well, and the other thing to consider is the economic factor of, spending money locally in your community. Money, that money gets, circulated back into other ways that help you.
Exactly.
Whereas when you buy online, that money's going wherever, and...
Well, there is another side to that, which is, our parliament's considering applying GST, our tax, to all online purchases.
Yeah, we've got a bit of that. I have to pay a tax on Amazon stuff now.
But
like a local state tax.
But that's the thing where that's at least Amazon is in your country.
True.
Imagine you bought something from Japan and still had to pay that state tax.
That would be a little messed up.
Yeah, and also, how do you enforce that? Like, how do you do that for every online... Like, imagine just eBay alone.
I mean, in America, you'd enforce that by we have to file our own taxes.
True.
So you'd have to, itemize stuff you've bought. And obviously you're relying on people to be honest about that, but that's what audits are for.
Exactly, yeah.
So it's...
But in our case where we have...
Self-reporting is about the only way you can do it. And if you don't have that, which you shouldn't have that sucks. Nobody should do that.
No.
Our tax system is absurd and terrible.
It's also just the case, like, how do you globally apply GST to everyone's online purchases within this country?
I mean, you'd have to work with the you'd have to work with the banks to have that figured out at the like point of sale.
But then if people buy with PayPal.
Right. That's the problem.
It's just like, what? Like, on so many levels, it's like, you can't do this. You actually can't, like, to feasibly do this, and, like, A, the task is not impossible, but oh my god, it's so ridiculously hard for such a small thing. B...
Well, it's... Sorry, continue.
Oh, but also B, man, you're really just gonna alienate more people, huh?
Yeah, I feel like I'm assuming your politicians are all like ours, where they come up with these ideas of how they think things should be handled based on a very cursory understanding of a process.
Yeah.
And never at no point does anyone who actually understands how the actual process works get involved.
Or they do, and then they benefit from it only.
Well, there's that, but I'm in a case like this, it feels more like people who have a broad understanding of economics but don't know how the nitty-gritty of how online transactions work. We're like, yeah, we should be getting, tax from this, and they talk about that, and at no point did somebody step in and say, okay, but like, here's how this process works.
Right.
How do you apply this idea? Because they're in the perspective of, well, we're going to say what needs to happen. Somebody else who knows how this stuff works will make it work.
Yeah, it's...
And sometimes the answer to that is, no, we can't.
Mm-hmm. And also, it's just the case where Australia's had a weird relationship with the internet as a whole.
Yeah, I've heard some of that.
Yeah. Also, hey, check out these front skirts.
Ooh.
Now I can attach them onto... How do these attach? Okay. Oh, I see. There's basically its own little, like, locking system for that. Pop those in. Alright, and we've got front skirts on the waist with piping.
That is a good place for skirts to be.
Yep. Honestly, one of my favorite things is the visual language they show for the Earth suits and the Xeon suits in Gundam. And for the record, Xeon is basically like space colonists. Earth is just, Earth. Because Xeon suits always just have a shitload of piping on them. And they always have like a single mono eye. When it comes to Earth suits, they're all very much about visors and bold, like, white, red, and blue color schemes. So I always like that. I appreciate that visual shorthand that you can go, oh, okay, I know which one's the Earth suit, which one's the, like, Xeon suit.
Right, that's good. That's good world building too, because it would make sense that different cultures would develop different, visual language over time.
Yeah.
Just different styles.
Yeah. It's an interesting point where, because Xeon are kind of basically space Nazis, which kind of...
Yeah, I've heard that, yeah.
But if you consider them in a broader respect of space Germany in terms of manufacturing during World War II, you see some interesting things, like some parallels, because, put it this way, the general grunt suit for the Earth Federation are called GMs. Like...
Right.
Kind of making a point. And the GMs, funnily known enough as Gyms, they're real shitty in the shows. They are so, like, ineffective. Meanwhile, Xeon
Right,
suits...
because they're low budget, mass produced, whatever, yeah.
They go into it, and basically, Gyms were basically repurposed, like, mobile tanks that just had torsos with, like, grabber hands. Like, they're kind of, like... They were built with cost effectiveness in mind.
Right, the idea of if you have enough of something, it doesn't have to be very good.
Exactly. And then you've got the Xeon suits like the Zaku's, the most iconic, like, grunt suit, and they have nuclear reactors in them. They have so much money poured into them, but they're
so they're Metal
better.
Gears. Got it.
Kinda. I love the actual, like... Oh, not needless, but... super in-depth nitty-gritty about, like, how these suits were actually manufactured and reproduced. So that it creates an actual like reasoning behind why are these suits so shitty against like the ostensibly bad guys. Like,
Yeah, I'm a bit of a sucker for needlessly like in-universe justifications for like storytelling,
right.
like conceits.
There's also stuff in like the Universal Century of like one of the big reasons the Xeon faction had the upper hand with mobile suits, especially so early on in the game, was that they had a scientist who developed like his own energy particle, which was able to effectively power the suits better, and then that creates that strengthens the World War II parallel because he wanted to trade sides and go to the Earth faction, and then because they Xeon killed him en route, that stifles the mass production of mobile suits from the Earth faction. Like, it's basically accepted in that universe that if the Gundam didn't exist, Xeon would have won. Like,
Yeah, it's okay. They can just use the cosmic cube to rewrite history.
oh yeah, of course. God, don't fucking remind me about that.
It's the hot topic of the day, Jules.
Oh, so it's Goth?
I would take Goth Captain America over Secret Empire.
Yeah, man, Goth Captain America... Actually, Goth Captain America is kind of Bucky, in a way.
Like, MCU Bucky, sure.
Yeah. There's a really interesting article about, like, how, on Women Write About Comics, about how Bucky kind of actually takes the role of a femme fatale in that entire storyline.
Yeah?
And, like, that's
Yeah,
why
I
so many
can-
women
I can
actually
follow
like
that.
Bucky in the MCU. You straight up have an extremely pretty man with long hair, and, like, even though it's supposed to be, like, oil and stuff, but it's just basically a mascara, like, drenched, like, eyes as well. Like,
Yup. Yeah, even visually, yeah, he's got the look.
God. I mean, that's why I definitely ship Bucky and Cap all the way.
I mean, yeah, that's a very easy, like, way to read their relationship.
Definitely.
Like, the lengths that, like in Civil War especially, the lengths that Steve goes to
Right.
to watch out for Bucky, like that's regardless of whether it's romantic or not, like their bond transcends just basic friendship. Like
Definitely, yeah.
that's a soul level kinship.
Yeah. Alright. So, let me just check if I've got all the pieces for this. Nope, just need one more piece because we're doing, I believe... yeah, back skirt. Is that just one? No, it's two. Okay, cool. Wow, usually most mobile suits from this era just have a single solid piece of a back skirt. This one's got two. Gotta really get that.
Man, I can't believe you're gonna show us this robot's back skirt live on camera.
Listen!
Have you no shame?
You know me, Joel, no. Just, Joel, I want you to really consider, you're gonna have to deal with this in person for me soon.
Yeah, I paid a lot of money to deal with this in person.
Yeah, you paid for the full experience.
Why did I do that?
I mean, hey, at least we're gonna be, like, making whiskey together.
That is true.
Folks,
There are
not
very
like
there are
we're not
that
making
is a
moonshine.
very yeah, you're gonna be in a very exclusive club of people I can say I have made whiskey with.
Yeah. Oh, nearly forgot a sticker. Where does that one go? That one's number 2 on the sticker sheet. Also, again, I want to reinforce how tiny these stickers are.
Yeah,
Scale.
those I would look at that sticker sheet and just throw it away because I know I'm not.
Hold on. Oh. That's not... The problem is sometimes I'll just pull off, like, the actual paper with the sticker as well.
Yeah, that is a thing that can happen with stickers.
It's real annoying. Ugh. Come on. Let's see if I can get it off.
There were when I'd get stickers from the library, there were certain ones like when I was a kid, like
Right.
for like book fairs and whatnot. Like
Yeah.
there were certain ones that were guaranteed if I tried to peel them off, it would just take the entire section of the backing sheet around the sticker off with it, and it would be impossible to peel.
Yep. Also, look at this.
Yeah, that is ridiculous.
It's kind of sickening that I like it to some degree because it's just like, man, I can put them on. I'm good at that.
Right. Well, yeah, that's the thing. It's very precise work, but if you can do it, again, that's one of those things where it's really satisfying.
I don't know where this one goes. What the hold on. Because that instruction doesn't make any sense? Does it? Hang on. Hang on. Yeah.
You're asking me?
Yeah, I don't know why. Yeah, that all looks correct. Okay. Alright, fuck it. I'm trusting you, instructions. I'm fucking flying by the seat of my pants here.
Well, you're fine by the seat of its pants.
That's true. More by the seat of its skirt. Nope. Shit. Hold on. I'm gonna just find the camera just so you can get the full, like, idea of this bullshit.
I mean, yeah, that was the like putting on stickers the audiobook right there.
Okay, hold on. Just it. Hey.
All right, I hope that's where that belongs. That's where it's going.
Yep, that's where. That's its home now. Then they drop that piece. Also, yeah, and then the funny thing is, this piece just covers it.
Well, that was really worth it.
Real grade, excitement embodied. Yeah. Fuck you, Bandai. Okay, and then yeah, if you only flip it up a tiny bit, you can kind of see it. Fuck you.
Look,
Bandai.
the important thing is you know it's there.
Yeah.
They're really capturing that spirit.
These assholes. Alright, I'm gonna cut out a couple extra pieces. I have thought of getting us a perfect grade to build, but that might actually take us, like, your entire trip to build.
Yeah, I mean, that's a cool idea, but
I'm still gonna save the perfect grade for when we, like, do a live stream, like, for charity.
sure, yeah, that seems like a good way to do it.
That's actually coming up soon, isn't it?
Oh man, is it?
Like, within the next few months. We should start organizing that properly.
Yeah, with this group, yeah, absolutely. Like, the sooner the better.
Yeah. I'm wondering what each show can do as part of that. Because, you know, the general thing is we could just all play games. Like, that's easy. But I want to have a bit more variety.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think we can do a lot more than just that.
Should we have an audio entropy, like, trivia show?
I mean, peeking behind the curtain a bit, like, we were actually half seriously talking the other day about trying to develop some sort of a, like, quiz show type program.
Yeah. Yes, especially, you know, Mike. Like, that's his whole deal. God, that'd be good. Oh, actually, could we do an endurance run of Monopoly with Matt?
Oh boy.
He won't watch this, Joel. Let's just organize right now. Could we just trick him into doing that?
Yeah, I mean, yes, we probably could. I think the better question is should.
True, but I also posit this: how funny would that be? Yeah.
What we should do is trick Matt into going on a picnic.
Or Hearthstone tournament.
I wonder if he would prefer that or the picnic.
That's a good question. I'm imagining though the Hearthstone. The best thing about Hearthstone would be a bunch of us who don't know how to play Hearthstone, and then
Oh yeah,
like he would almost hate that more because then he'd have to try and explain things to us about this game he hates while we're playing it with him.
yeah. It would be the scenario of trying to teach us the game so that we can understand why he hates it.
Yeah. A picnic would be pretty good. God, actually, freaking mad on a picnic. Oh, that'd be great for, like, the first proper, like, if ever there was one, like, TWA meetup.
Yep,
Hosts,
yep.
like,
We'd go have a meal in the park, and I would explicitly walk us right past the picnic table and set up the blanket.
Yep. He'd be so mad. Oh, I'm just imagining him grumpily putting on a party hat. Like, ugh, you assholes.
Grumpily putting on a party hat is an image that I feel sums that boy up perfectly.
Yeah, because he wouldn't not do this for his friends, and he wouldn't, like, just bail on them. And that boy also understands, like, the entertainment of our, like, network, so, like...
Right, absolutely, yeah, like... That's why he'll rant about shit instead of just, like, leaving the call.
Yep. Alright, is that done? Yep. Sometimes I don't really pay attention to where, like, the pegs go. I just kind of, like, go, hey, let's just move it around until it feels right.
Okay, there's another one for all of you to isolate and apply out of context.
Yeah, Alright, and then we can attach those to the back. Cool, and then we just gotta put on some extra panels for those. Gotta keep remembering to do this in front of the camera. Because the problem is I build away from me, like...
Right. Yeah, that to me strikes me as one of the more challenging things of streaming this is the way a camera is set up is not really conducive to how you typically hold things when you're building something.
Yeah. Alright. That's why I usually cut away from the camera and then, like, put the piece in front of the camera to show.
Unless you got a GoPro.
Yeah, oh man, maybe.
Yeah, because then you'd have the perspective of you looking at it, which you're going to do when you're working with a thing.
That'd be good, but then you also see what else I'm looking at as well in my room, and I don't...
Right, yeah, it would be, I guess, every time you look over at the instructions and whatnot, that'd be really disorienting.
Yep. I'm gonna pop these pipes into this back skirt.
I bet you could just get a nice over-the-shoulder rig figured out with some, like...
See, now I want to do that just because I can pretend to be a predator.
Sure.
Or as they're more commonly known as Yautja.
Yes, more commonly known.
Yes. That's honestly one of my favorite bits from Watch Dogs 2. The fact that just... fucking... That dude just straight up just calls them Yautja in, like, a scenario of, like, who wins between an alien and predator. I'm just like, I love this. I looked up a lot of Predator bullshit as a kid. For some reason I was very into that whole universe.
Yeah, that was not the kind of thing that I got a lot of experience with as a kid, but I definitely understand why kids would get into it.
I think it's because when my mom took me to her university when I was still in, like, kindergarten on off days and, like, between semesters and holidays, the food court at her university, had, like, an Alien vs. Predator, like, cabinet you could play on.
Oh yeah, the arcade game?
Yeah, so I just played a lot of that, and then ended up just...
That was a good game.
That was a very good game. I still have very fond memories of that, like, that food court and arcade cabinet. Just because that's where I played Alien vs. Predator when I was with my mom when she was taking university courses. One of these days I should just get my mom on an episode or something, or like record something more with her besides Pokemon Go.
Yeah, that was a good episode. You should definitely do more stuff like that.
You learn a lot about me as a person when you actually like see my mom and how her and I interact.
Yeah, honestly, just some of the stories you've told me about her and like your childhood explain a lot.
Yeah.
So that's how it is for most people, though, right?
Oh,
like
yeah.
the people you grew up with inform a lot about who you are as a person,
Definitely.
for better or for worse.
It was very funny, meeting my boyfriend's dad, and then going, oh, I see now. Okay. Everything makes sense.
Yep.
Is that? Oh. No, okay. That. It's annoying when a piece is supposed to stick out a little bit, and I'm like, does that actually go there? I don't fucking know.
It's like that one book that's not shaped standard, so when you're trying to square your shelves,
yeah,
like it's sticking out weird, and you're like, okay, how do I can't fix this. It's just too deep of a book.
see, like that gray piece on the camera that I'm pointing to. Hold on,
Yeah, that does look like it's not seated right.
But hold on, I'm gonna have to look at a picture. Oh, actually, I think I know why. Sometimes some pieces just don't, like, there's extra crap still on them from when I shave them down.
Hmm.
So that could just be it. Hold on. Oh,
So it's just hitting up against something and isn't snapping in all the way.
yeah. Well, let me just fix that real quick. Now's the problem, because I can't detach this piece from the waist, so now it's just, like, scratching it down with my fingernail to get it in. Okay, that looks better now. Because that's going to be a gap anyway without the gray piece there.
Right.
So that actually makes sense. Alright, cool. Sweet. I'm not freaking out now. Still gonna double check if that... Yeah, that's it's right, according to instructions. Okay, cool. Whew. And then I need... I guess... Oh, okay, so just the same pieces from the different runners. God, I still remember when I first told my mom about the Gunpla Builders World Cup. Her first response was like, oh, I can sponsor you! When I first told her that my one of my favorite authors at the time had, like, his own online forums, she asked me if ever I get famous, can she be an administrator or moderator on the forums?
Oh dear.
Yeah, that...
I don't think she realizes what she's asking.
Well, maybe she does, and that's the scary part.
Yeah, I guess you don't know. Maybe she's active online. And you just don't know.
I don't think she's active online. I think she knows exactly what a moderator would do, and she knows exactly, like, all the bullshit she'd pull. My mom's a very mischievous person when she wants to be.
I mean, speaking of, like, understanding how people become who they are, that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, you've just seen me try and, like, jerry-rig some fucking elaborate prank to get Matt on a picnic. Or play Hearthstone.
Right.
Or play Monopoly. Like, actively doing things that would make a friend mad. That's my deal.
I mean, that's just friendship.
Yeah, exactly. Doing that to a friend and knowing they can't ever, unfriend you over something that small is part of friendship.
Friendship is leaving obnoxious messages that somebody will hate for their birthday constantly.
Yep. Those were very loving in their own way.
You don't spend that much time on somebody if you don't care about them.
Where was that born? For folks that don't know, this is about Joel leaving just Garfield-related birthday messages on Zach's Facebook wall for a while.
The irony being, if he hadn't really responded to the first one, or would have just, liked the post like he did all the other ones, that would have been it. But he specifically responded saying he hated it.
Yeah.
So that became my entire day.
Of course. Like, what did he think was gonna happen?
Did he think I was going to run out? Because I had the internet.
Yeah, there's no shortage of Garfield material on the internet. Like,
Well, except for the material that specifically removes Garfield.
well, that's true.
That's defined by a shortage of Garfield.
Exactly. Was that actually, like, born from something? Or did you just decide Garfield one day?
Honestly, it was born from I decided to do that the day of his birthday. Like, it was just an idea that came to me.
Sure.
But it was if it was born of anything, it was of his unending hatred of the Garfield emote I put in our Slack channel.
Oh, right.
He has made a point on multiple occasions of telling me he hates it. So
I should have sent him Halo-related birthday messages.
you know, he probably wouldn't have hated those as much.
Oh, he would have hated mine.
I
You say that, Joel. I have a very specific knack for making things very weird and bad.
that is information I was aware of. Yes.
It's honestly very funny to me, my boyfriend discovering just how much of a bully I can be. 'Cause, damn it, it's fun. Maybe I do like Vriska
Yeah.
for stuck.
Oh boy.
Listen, that's gonna be the true test of our friendship if I end up liking Vriska.
It is. It really is.
I mean, you're still friends with Molly.
Yeah.
Joel, be very careful how you answer this.
Yeah.
It's honestly funny how much of a reaction you have to this as well. See,
So, like, reacting strongly to Homestuck is just kind of a thing. Like,
right.
people play it up. But at some point in that comic, that particular character's involvement got to the point where I felt it was actively a detriment to my enjoyment of the comic.
Of course.
There's specific plot developments involving that character that I did not like.
Sure, that's fair. Oh, I'm just applying.
So I play up my dislike of the character as a whole, but I do think there are elements of the story that suffer because of that character.
Sure. Also, just want to show you. Look at this tiny copper sticker I just applied.
That is ridiculous.
The camera will focus a little bit more.
Yeah, it is so small the camera cannot focus on it.
Yeah. Like, hold on.
If you put it in the tweezers, maybe.
Okay. Let's just really get that in there. Yeah. That makes no fucking sense. I don't know how I got that on one go.
Don't question it. Just be glad it happened and
Yep.
keep moving forward.
I've got to do it again.
See, this is the problem. You can't think about it. If you think about it, you're gonna fuck it up.
Exactly.
Just keep talking about Vriska, and it'll all be fine.
That's okay. Well, now that's on recording, so
Yeah,
you fool. Hold on.
I didn't think.
The audio entropy motto.
Well, the problem is Molly might actually watch this.
It's fine. Honestly, from
See-
yeah, sorry.
That's also the audio entropy motto, but it's not sincere.
Yeah. Honestly, from my perspective, it always surprises people how many shitty characters I like in things. Like the character I keep going on about from Kamen Rider O's Ankh. He's really not nice. He's really a bad character, but I love him. And it's kind of the funny thing where I like a lot of shitty characters because I think they actually have the best arcs.
Right. I mean, that's the... I mean, that's often how it goes. Like enemies and like bad guys often get better arcs than heroes because the big thing about story arcs is overcoming flaws, and villains are almost universally defined by their flaws, whereas heroes are typically defined by their strengths.
Exactly, yeah.
And it doesn't have to be that way. That's just how fiction tends to be.
Yeah, and I mean, like, one of my favorite characters ever is Vegeta. That dude murders people. Like,
I mean, a lot of people murder people, let's be honest.
But that's the thing, like, people excuse that because of his character arc and what he goes through and everything.
See, I don't think you should excuse it.
True. Some people do. But man, just like one of the reasons people love Vegeta was just like that weird juxtaposition of this former mass murdering alien to he's just a grumpy dad who has to spend a day at the amusement park with his family.
Right, yeah, there's something inherently appealing, I think, about the, like, transition between, you know, edgelord badass to mundane.
I have such a fondness for edgelord badasses.
Like, I mean, it's the same reason why, like, Dad Vader is always such a funny concept, of Darth Vader just being a normal dad and, like...
Well, just, it's why I like Reaper, because if you make Reaper super mundane and silly, he's actually really funny, and I like that.
Right, yeah, it's a really good, like, comedic conceit.
Just... again, it also surprises people, because, like, you know, when you talk with me, you don't get this sense from me, but then you actually start realizing, I love edgelords, and I love the edgelord aesthetic, like, very sincerely. People also don't get that sense from me because I don't dress that way at all.
Right, you aren't literally wearing that on your sleeve.
No. Like, I don't know, there's just something very appealing about these dummies who think they're super hardcore and, like, very gritty and tough and dark, and actually, like, nah, it's fine. Like,
it's adorable in the way a small child trying to act tough is adorable.
Right. How do I connect these two pieces? Oh. Oh, I guess, okay. That's... Alright, this is annoying. This is one of those pieces where I need to have the last part to make it solid because it's a sliding piece.
Oh, yeah, that's kind of awkward.
So it's just like, okay, so I've got to keep that in a very specific place while I cut out this next piece.
Right, it's similar to some of those, like physical 3D puzzle things.
Oh, right,
where,
yeah.
like in order to get this to actually work, I have to hold these pieces together that don't actually connect and slide this other one in, and that'll put pressure in such a way that they all hold together, and it's all very awkward.
You just described polyamory.
Huh, I guess I did.
Alright. Let's just get this piece added down, and then I can finally attach it, and then we can see how cool this is. Yay! It's always about the finished product. And it came off. God damn it. Son of a... Alright, oh. So now I put this in here. Aha, there we go. So we've got a side skirt, and then that can just... Does it actually slide? Yeah, it does. See?
Oh, nice.
I like movable parts in these kits.
For me, the worst with fiddly stuff where, like, you have to connect multiple things is when the piece that holds it all together is part of a, like, larger piece. Like, if for instance, that piece, you had to connect it to something that was already on the frame in order for it to hold together. So you'd have to hold it together as you're putting it on the thing.
Yeah, that's...
To me, that's the worst, because there's so many opportunities for you to, like, mess it up and have to start over.
Exactly. Ugh. Alright, let's see. So, which way does this go? Okay. Alright, I see. So I've got to actually connect the side skirt to the frame, I've got to pop that on. Cool, and then...
I don't remember that part of the song.
Now, this part is going to be annoying because this is an indent I've got to connect this piece into right here. So I've got to squeeze in between those two skirts. That's not...
Yeah, I not too long ago bought this novelty.
A.
I mean, I don't know how to summarize it, so I'm just gonna say what it is. It's like a Megazord made up of Toy Story characters.
Oh, you actually bought that?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, nice.
It's really cool, but boy, does it make me appreciate the like official Power Rangers like Sentai Megazord design stuff, because putting that thing together in like combining the pieces or whatever is not easy.
Right.
Stuff does not slot in well. There's a lot of stuff like you just did there where you have to sort of slot stuff in and then line it up and snap it, and it all feels very precarious when it's all put together.
Yep.
Like you can't just pick it up and move it around. It was really frustrating at times assembling it. It's not something I feel like I can disassemble and reassemble a bunch because of the amount of effort that goes into doing that.
Fair. I'll say...
Whereas my Legacy Megazords, I will reconfigure all the time because it's super easy.
That said, you kind of buy that one specifically because you want the Megazord like looking like it's made out of Toy Story characters.
Right. That's true.
That's at least like
honestly, those characters are kind of creepy in their like individual forms.
Yeah.
Because in order to make them in a way that they would, slot together as a robot decently, they had to make some concessions with the designs.
Like they almost look like doppelgangers, like just weird like mimics.
Oh, I mean they look like animatronics.
Oh God, no.
Yeah, it's rough.
I remember there was a tested video recently of them like looking into restoring animatronics, and the thumbnail preview is just like an open animatronic's face. I'm like, I'm not clicking that.
So what they need to do is combine the aesthetics of like 80s animatronics with the design of Boston Dynamics' robots.
Oh no, Joel! Jesus, fuck no!
For ultimate nightmare fuel. Like, just imagine Big Dog, except he's got a like uncanny valley like living cartoon face that you can kind of see behind and see the like springs and stuff that are connected to it.
That's terrifying. That's not cool.
Anyway, also that Toy Story Zord came with a little comic.
Oh, okay.
And apparently there is going to be a second Zord. Actually, it might be out by now. That is Buzz Lightyear and some of the toy aliens.
Oh, sweet.
So this is the second Zord, and then you can combine them into an Ultra Zord.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I don't really like the design of that one nearly as much. I don't know if I'll get it.
Yeah, it's always the thing. Like, do you want to be a completionist, or do you want to just like stick with what you like personally?
Right, and see, that's what I'm struggling with. And since it's just this limited edition thing, I don't feel nearly as bad about saying, yeah, I'm just going to stick with this one.
Right. Also, hey,
it's two things doesn't really feel like much of a collection to me.
But make a great t-shirt.
Would it?
Who knows? Anyway, we've got a completed bottom half.
Look at that.
God, I really like that gold.
Yeah, it's really good.
God, that's so nice. Ah, such a nice kit. All right, time to take a picture of this one for the progress shots.
So you just stick a head in there and you're done, right?
Yeah, no, totally. Just like, broop, done. I mean, I'm not gonna pull out another kit just to do that joke because they're all too far away. They're all too far away.
Where is your dedication to the visual humor of tiny head on legs?
Well, okay then, fine, mister. Jeez, okay. 1 second. Sorry, Vidar. I feel bad about this. Oh, don't break. Okay. Done.
See, wasn't that worth it?
Yes. It actually was. I'm just gonna pull these blinds to get a bit better lighting. God, it's It's just so funny. It's just so dumb. Like,
There's something about the proportions that's just it pleases me.
okay, well we can take that one out of context as well.
Oh boy, no, that one sounds terrible out of context.
I know, Joel. That's the whole point. You
No,
fool!
I don't like that one at all.
All right. So that's pretty. Okay, this part I don't get. So you finish the waist and everything. That's like the whole first part.
Yep.
They make you build the frickin' arms next. It's like they don't connect to anything yet.
It's like a reverse Rayman.
Oh, that's a horrifying thought.
So just imagine, like, somewhere in that world are Rayman's limbs.
Well, I like that you pronounce his name as Raymond.
Yeah, everybody loves him.
Oh, God damn it. Alright, hold on. Just sending... As I want to do progress shots to my boyfriend, because he and I send progress shots of like, each other's models to each other.
That's nice.
Yeah. We are incredible dorks together.
And apart.
Yes.
Just in general.
Yeah, you know. Ever since I got him back into Warhammer.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Hey.
No, I'm just saying, like, from a like a hobbyist perspective, like that. I know some people who are kind of into Warhammer, and like it sounds like that's in a situation where the materials have gotten crappier and more expensive somehow, which is the worst possible direction for that stuff to go.
It's interesting talking to him because it's the case where the materials are going crappier, but it means you're not painting pewter.
It's true. I guess that is a fair point.
And it's like, okay, plastic. Well, you just have to prime it now. Like, it's fine.
Yeah, no, I know some people who were really into Warhammer back in the day and are really disappointed with the direction things have gone.
Yeah, I can imagine, especially.
And like I understand it. Like I don't envy being on the distributor side of that, because the interest and the amount of money people are willing to spend on stuff like that is lower now than it's ever been.
Yeah, definitely.
Like just the economics of it makes a hobby like that a lot less common. Which means they aren't getting the level of sales that they need. And really, what choices do you have other than raising the prices or reducing manufacturing costs?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you've definitely seen that with.
But then they're stuck in the problem. But then they're stuck in the problem of, well, if they raise their prices, that's raising the barrier to entry even higher, so they're not going to get new people.
Right.
And if they make the stuff crappier, they might lose existing customers who are used to a certain level of quality. So.
Yeah, it's definitely the case with you see a Bandai like them balancing that between different kits from different universes.
Right.
And like you can definitely see them trying to balance the budget in the kits.
I feel like they're in a bit of a better position just because there's a much wider reach for Gunpla already.
Definitely, yeah.
So they can afford to invest a little bit in diversifying their market. So
right.
Like they can spend a little to develop, some stuff for the high end stuff that's not going to get as many sales, but people are going to be willing to spend more on.
Yeah.
While also putting out like the bear stuff you were talking about that's cheap and easy that,
like kids buy a lot of.
Right. Exactly. Like
they definitely have
there really isn't a simple, like, easy entry point for Warhammer.
No, they definitely I like honestly even the SD kits, like the chibi little Gundams, because some point out to me a very like a fact I didn't even consider. Those are good little like desk like tchotchkes.
Right, yeah, absolutely.
Like you just build a little Gundam and you put it on your desk and like, oh, that actually fits and it doesn't take too much room, it's not cluttered, and you don't care if it looks like super great, it's just a nice little thing to decorate your desk with at work.
Right, like I have two things that I collect for that, or have collected, I guess, in the past, because I don't necessarily actively do it. for that purpose. One of them is, Lego minifigures, because they do the little blind bag.
Oh yeah.
Fix. And if you have the spare time, you can just kind of feel for accessories or whatnot that are unique to specific ones and get exactly the ones you want.
Right.
But I mean, there's some really cool like minifigure designs, so those are cool to collect and just have sitting around, and they're cheap.
Yeah.
And the other thing I have is for a while they were doing like Valve or whoever Valve contracted to actually make the things. We're putting out these little blind box portal turrets.
Yeah, I remember having those.
Yeah. So yeah, just little mass produced turrets that had unique paint designs.
Yeah.
They got like a little bumblebee pattern one, like a rainbow one.
Oh, you mean
one
the Molly, the Molly turret? Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, Molly. Also, just building the torso right now. Gonna have that nice and good to go in a little bit.
But yeah, those are cool because they're super cheap. It's something that I'm sure costs them nothing to make.
Exactly. Yeah.
And the fact that there's all these different patterns make it feel unique and feel worth collecting.
Yeah.
And the fact that they're cheap means that you can, for instance, I have one that I, over the course of several months of chewing gum, covered in foil, like I used to do to my Trapper Keepers in middle school. Because if you peel off the like actual foil layer from the foil wrappers, you can kind of stick it to stuff.
I didn't know that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So I just slowly coated it entirely in foil, so it's just a shiny silver one now.
That does sound like some real body horror though for the turret.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I also used to stick the foil to my like. You couldn't really get to stick to skin because of the oils and everything, but you could stick it to your fingernails pretty good.
Yeah. Experiment with like just chewing gum nail polish.
That would basically, yeah, it was shiny foil fingernails. It looked cool.
Man, I wish I wore nail polish more, but honestly, my work stops me from doing it because I work with food and not allowed to wear nail polish.
Right. Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense.
But it's also like, man, I've got all this nail polish now I don't wear anymore.
Right, because, yeah, it's probably not worth it to put on if you're going to have to take it off the next time you work.
Yeah, especially if I'm working like 2 or 3 days a week. And it's like, well, okay. Like, the only time I wear it is when I go on holidays, like during my January trip, because I had 2 whole weeks off. So I could, like, wear some nail polish. Alright, just need to get a couple more pieces for this torso. Actually, we're looking forward to the torso. The torso I like a lot. It's funny. I like building legs. I like building torso. I love building the head. I cannot stand building arms of Gunpla kits. I find it so boring.
Huh. Well, if you find arms boring, you should
not play
not pay attention to Nintendo's output for a while.
I mean, there's legs in there as well.
The game is called Arms, Julie.
I know. I'm just saying. Just saying. Alright, we're gonna have to finish up this recording soon just because Luke is wanting to start up the pizza party, at least the call, in a little bit. So
also it's been 2.5 hours.
Yeah. Let me just finish up this next couple couple steps because I want to get this gold on this thing.
Yeah, whenever you feel we're at a good wrapping up point, because you're gonna have to set this aside and come back to it in like a month or whenever. So
yeah. And I'll just be sending you like pictures of kits. Like, which one do you think we should build? Like this one, this one. Then I've also got to investigate kits, like in terms of going to look at reviews for their quality and like articulation and rigidity, and then God, picking out Gunpla to buy is honestly a chore for me. But I like it.
Well, I mean, there's a lot you gotta weigh, because like the aesthetics appeal is obviously important, but if it looks cool and is a pain to build and isn't gonna hold together well, like then that's a waste of your time.
Exactly. Oh, come on, get this freaking. I'm gonna attach this tiny black piece to this gold piece.
Yeah, that doesn't look fun.
No, I mean, it doesn't look fun, but I like it. Like, this is Gunpla. Please, just God, son of a... How does that... Oh!
Low-key muttering and swearing. I love this!
Yeah. Wrong... So, it's the right piece, but the wrong side of it, so...
Oh, gotcha.
That makes sense. And, oh, that looks so nice.
That's Shidor colors right there. Glossy black on, like, shiny gold.
Mm-hmm. It's a good look. Alright, and then pop this into here. I just want to get, like, a decent, solid torso shape, so that way I don't lose all the bits.
It's good to have a decent, solid torso shape.
Yeah. Alright, that's that. And then I need that piece. Yeah, okay. Okay. Wait, how does that all work?
This is a real journey you're taking me on right now.
I mean, yeah, like, I never make bones about this stream. This stream is mostly just, like, all this recording is just mostly me going, what the, how does that, okay, oh, okay.
Hey, I enjoy it.
I will never try to understand that with people who enjoy the stuff I produce.
I mean, I same.
There we go, that's the one I was looking for. It's annoying when both E and F, which both look the same when you look at the actual, like, frame designator. And then also
Right.
the fact that they're both the same shade of gray. It's real annoying. Just saying, Bandai.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I was gonna say it's really annoying. You know, whoever created our alphabet. Like, real smart move there, just like hacking off a bit of the bottom of the letter and calling that the new letter.
It's like, okay, sure, why not? There we go, done.
It's like they got 25 letters done, and their boss said, "Nope, you need another one." I'm like, well, fuck, what am I gonna do?
It's like,
I already put a line through the O and we called that one. I can't pull that move again.
What if I just remove something? It's like, Dimitri Martin is an, like, comedian I always enjoy, and one of my favorite bits is just like, they thought there were gonna be a lot more different vitamins than there actually are. Because, like, vitamin A, cool. B, well, okay, cool. But let's slow down. Like, we got a lot of, we got a lot of letters to cover. We got 26 in the alphabet. Okay, B1, B2, B6, B12. Alright, vitamin C, cool. D, cool. E, alright? F. Fuck. That's it, isn't it? Got all these fucking B's. Shit.
Huh. They have the same. They use the same letters for vitamins as they do for musical notes.
Except you're missing G still.
Yeah, I guess.
Nearly there. You almost had a conspiracy on your hands.
Yeah. That's the thing about conspiracies. You never have your hands around them.
That's true.
They're slippery.
Alright. Let's see. That looks a bit scuffed, that piece, but that's okay. Sometimes I'll just tell myself that the scuffs on pieces are okay, because I'm like, it's battle damage. These are war machines. It's fine.
Do you buy that?
I don't like to think about it.
That's what I thought.
Listen.
Oh no criticism there. I wouldn't either. Like,
I want to at least put on the piece so I can just attach this thing to the waist unit so I don't have to freak out too much. And luckily I can do that without... Luckily, I like it when I can just sometimes skip a step just to get some amount of completion done. Alright, I need E and then the A frame, and then I think we might call it for this stream. I keep saying stream, I mean fucking recording, god damn it.
you're technically streaming it to an audience of one.
Yeah! Audience of one, your companion piece to party of one.
No, that's not fair. I'm sure that show gets a lot more than one listener.
Oh yeah,
It's a good show.
it's a good show. All right. This is the part as well. Whenever I'm like trying to cut a piece, especially from the A-frame, and like this part is all like malleable, like posable wire. I'm trying to hold it while still cutting it, and it just becomes a whole freaking
Right. That's not an easy thing to do.
No, it becomes a freaking like comedy of errors. Just play some wacky music over it. Alright, and then this piece. Luckily, I don't mind using the shitty file for like the gray inner pieces that I'm not really going to see as much.
Yeah, that's definitely a thing you have to keep in mind is how visible is this going to be? How much time is this worth spending on?
Yeah, like I'm only filing these down just so they can fit into like the slots, rather than actually like colliding. Okay, and then the A tubing is that away. Is that the right? Nope. Okay, that's the right way. And these parts go into here.
Boy, that is kind of fiddly, huh?
Yeah. Like, look, okay, look how tiny this is. Like, and then we pop this way. That will connect onto here, I think. All right, because it's supposed to be like, okay, this part of the torso is never really like. Wait, hold on. Shut up. How does that? I didn't miss any part. No, definitely didn't miss that.
This is the most authentic model building experience you could get, folks.
Shut up. Hold on, like, I guess just.
I'm sorry. Would you like me to just silently let everyone listen to your like confusion and frustration?
Maybe. Like.
Trying to fill the air here, Jules.
How does this lock onto the waist? I don't.
Maybe there's a reason they told you to build the arms first. Maybe the
up.
arms are somehow the linchpin to this whole operation.
That makes no sense. Hold on. Did I miss? Wait, hold on. Did I miss something in the waist? No, waist is good.
Maybe they're load-bearing arms.
What? Okay.
That simultaneously makes a lot of sense and 0 sense.
Oh, okay. I just need to do one more piece. Okay, alright. I got this.
See, normally when people say, all right, and I got this, as many times in a row as you just did, it means they do not have this. I'm not going to pay attention to that. Don't need to pay attention to that. Just going to put out that voice. You know, I assume that's what people say most of the time when I talk.
Oh, shush.
Like, I assume that's their internal monologue.
Alright. So, let's just... actually, I don't need much sanding.
Building the head last definitely seems like the merciful way to go, because can you imagine, like, having to watch the rest of your body be assembled?
That would really suck. That'd really suck. Like, at least when you are built, it's like, oh, I've got a body now, that's cool. You don't assume anything's wrong with it. If you actually watch it being built, it's like, oh, you definitely got this part wrong.
Oh man, that would be the worst. Like, having knowledge of how you should be built and watching somebody who doesn't know what they're doing try to do it.
It's the trans experience, Joel.
Fuck. See, I was just gonna make a crack about C-3PO and Empire Strikes Back.
Fair point as well. Does that fit smoothly? Doesn't look like it. Hold on. Is that... No, that is technically correct.
I don't like the way you were emphasizing technically there.
Neither do I, Joel. That goes there. Oh, I see. Okay. Yep. Okay. Well, again, it's just hate the fact that I have to apply force on these very fragile parts. Alright, and then pop this piece onto here. There we go. Nice satisfying dull snap. Then we attach this piece onto here. Now that actually, like, slots in quite
It actually connects to something. Good.
Yeah, hooray! And then with that, we can pop this baby onto here. Alright, we got a partial built torso with a lot of articulation, actually, if we take a closer look. Like,
Oh yeah, no, that's a pretty mobile waist.
for a mobile suit, yeah.
Also, that piping does look pretty cool.
Yeah, the piping's so cool. Just, it adds that extra, like, this is a spacefaring mech.
Right. Even though there's no good reason why you'd put exposed external piping on.
It's cool, don't worry. Alright, so with that, I think we're done for the recording. Well, thanks for joining us, folks.
Thanks for sticking around with us.
Yeah.
For this one. It was a long one, but it was a good one.
Yeah, we've got a good amount done. We got the leg thrusters done, we got the kneecaps, we got the whole waist unit, side skirts, front skirts, back skirt with all the boosters. Yeah, you can see, like, how mobile this thing's supposed to be with all, like, those thrusters on them. Also, yeah, I do like the little, just like, hey, if you want, you can just adjust, like, little mobility fins.
Yeah, just having all those detail pieces that can be tweaked like that, just give it. I don't know. It just makes it feel so much more real, I guess. In
And
a
even
way.
just, yeah, and even just, like, this little piece. Like, hey, what's up? You want to expose some of the actual intricate workings and pop it back in? Cool.
God, that's like.
Mhm.
When you put it that way, it sounds like that kid at school who can like dislocate his shoulder and just does it to mess with people.
Oh, you mean like the way I can do my, sorry, Sinanju. The way I can do my finger like that.
Yeah, exactly that kind of thing. Yes.
Yeah. You okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
I just like the pause there, like.
That was the pause. Was of course you were that kid.
Of course I'm that kid. I still am. I still do that.
Yeah.
It helps that I also do yoga now, Joel. Like, you think I'm gonna stop?
Yeah, I don't think you can stop, Jules. Just in general.
I really can't. Alright, well, thanks, folks. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for watching the good old Sinanju be built. And, hopefully I can get another recording within... Maybe... Well, we'll definitely do another one when you're here, but it won't be the Sinanju. So, we'll see what happens. Who knows? I might even complete this kit off the air a little bit more, and then that way don't have to record as much, because this thing takes a while.
I don't know if that's necessarily a problem, though. I mean, that's the whole point of these streams, right?
That's true. Well, anyway, in whatever case, I'll figure something out. Next time we record anything will probably be the Master Grade kit that you'll be building with me when you're here.
Yeah, look forward to that, folks.
Awesome. Alright, well, if that...
Lord knows I am.
Alright, with that, folks, see you later.